was a man in D.C.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you on a Christmas Eve morning. It's Wednesday, hump day, and normally Dean will be in the studio with me, but, family things, get in the way. He has a priority list that I don't understand, but thankfully he called in. Good morning, Dean.
Good morning, Russ. Yeah, you know that thing about grandkids and stuff. Some people take that more serious.
As you do, and that's good. So, are you in Texas?
I am. I'm in actually a northern suburb of Dallas, but essentially I consider it's in the Dallas Fort Worth metroplex. So yes,
yeah, that's still Texas. There's
it definitely is Texas. Heck, I drove. Oh gosh, almost 700 miles, 600 and some miles through Texas to get here.
Oh yeah. Once you reach Texas, don't put your shoes on. You're not there yet.
Yeah, it's a big state, and I've come to appreciate Texas more. As states go, Texas is a little more individualistic than most states because of its history of having been a independent republic for years before it became a state. I think that's one of the things. And of course, the other is that it became a state in circumstances somewhat similar to the United States becoming a independent country. It had the people in Texas who had we probably called Texicans at the time, had agreements with the central government in Mexico, but the central government kept changing as there were coups and overthrows and things like that, and they would not honor the former agreements. And then let's see, I better not mention a name, but one of the people, it wasn't Sam Houston, it was I just better not mention. A famous Texan went down to the central government and said, well, let's renegotiate. You got a new government here. We need to reaffirm that our rights and privileges and everything that we agreed to are still in effect. And they threw him in prison for about 6 months without ever really hearing him. And then after I think it was about 6 months. Now, I could be wrong, but I think it's pretty close to that. They let him loose, and he went back to Texas. And in the meantime, you had the incident where the Mexican government decided they want to disarm the people in Texas. Now, at the time, Indian raids were a big problem in Texas. And it's one of the reasons that first the Spanish and then the Mexican government agreed to have Americans come there because nobody else could hold the place because the Indians would attack and kill off people and make it impossible to make a living there. I mean, that's one of the big things that happened. So they tried to disarm the people that were in Texas, and they said, no, isn't going to happen. They have a famous flag. There was a cannon. Gosh, I should know the name. Of the place where they were going to take it. The cannon had been provided by the Mexican government, and when the Mexican government came to take it back, they said, "Come and take it," on a flag, and they resisted with arms and succeeded. Of course, then you had the Alamo and all those other things, and eventually the Texicans prevailed and created their own independent republic.
Texicans, really? That's what their names were at the time? Texicans?
I think at the time that was an appellation that was used.
Okay.
I mean, I can't. I don't have my original sources right in front of me. It's from my reading and my memory, and both my memory particularly can be fallible. Often is. So that's why I'm saying that this is from memory. But as I recall, it was Texicans, and so that's so Texas has more of a similar beginning to the United States than I'd say any other state. Now, California, they revolted against Mexican or government in, I think it was 1848 during the Mexican-American War, and they had their own republic that lasted just a few months before they applied for statehood. So it's much shorter, and there were only a few Mexican Spanish, I guess you would call them at the time, that were in California at the time. There were, I think, there's about 1,500 or so now. People can correct me, but I've been reading up on some of the history. There just weren't very many there. There were more Americans. And then right after that, we had the gold rush, 49ers, which is really kind of amazing when you think about it. They just get free of Mexican/Spanish rule, and then they have a gold rush. Well, part of it was that under the rules, the way the law was set up in Spain and Mexico, all the mineral rights belonged to the government. And if you found some promising, valuable minerals like gold, for example, and you reported it to the government, well, then they'd decide whether you could have it or not, or get any say in it, or mine it. And it didn't always work out well for the people who found the assets. So once they were under American rule, there was a completely different set of rules. And basically, the Americans believed in private property rights more so, that all the minerals did not belong to the central government. And that goes back to the Magna Carta in England, where people, nobles, said, hey, I got this mine on my property. It belongs to me. It doesn't belong to the central government. And they enforced that at the Magna Carta. And that's how the tradition of mineral rights belonging to the property owner in the Anglosphere started.
Well, it's good they did it. Heck.
Oh, it's tremendously important in the development of the United States, in Canada, in Australia. Australia has had a similar tradition.
Yeah, the politicians don't have to own the gold; just tax it. That's okay. That's all they need.
Yeah, that's what's happened.
Yeah.
That's what's happened. Is that it's, the taxes and regulations have made it much harder and harder to mine. And so there are people who study and are genius at finding mines, mine finders, they're called, and they almost always trained geologists who specialize in this type of thing, and it's a genius level thing. You have to have a talent for it, as well as being intensely intelligent and able to ingest large amounts of data. And I recall a book I read about one that was based, I think he's retired and he lives near Tucson now, or at least the last I read. Would be in his 80s, so I'm not sure if he's still alive. But he analyzed the data of a big mining project near Tucson. I think it's copper mine in the area. I don't forget the name of it. And they were concerned about running out of, ore, because it's not like more ore is produced all the time. It's what's in the ground. And they thought there should be more around, but they couldn't figure out where it was. So he analyzed all the drilling data, the boring samples, which have a tremendous amount of data in it. And he basically said, you're looking in the wrong place. It's over here. And they found it. They said, whoa, wow, that's real. But there was like, it was under an Indian reservation, as I recall. The details, I really feel like I should give better, but I'm going from memory. I have the book in my library, so I can find it. Anyway, so he, the mine finder, the geologist, an extremely talented individual, told the mining company who owned the mineral rights, or who had the mine. I don't know if they owned the mineral rights to this extended vein. And he said, make a deal now. Make it right now. get your deal done so that you don't have to worry about it in the future. And they hedged and hawed. I guess they didn't want to come up with money, or who knows, but they put it off for a few years. Well, originally the Indian tribe was willing to make a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, they get rich. It's not such a hard thing to take. You take minerals all around, they get a percentage, they get rich. Well, by the time they decided they wanted to do the deal, the politics had changed, and some elders said, well, the best plants that I've ever found are on that ridge, and they'll be gone. Or I don't know if that was an excuse or real. And they refused to sell the mineral rights, to approve of the mine deal. And so that just remains in the ground to this day. And the mine finder said, forget working in North America, or the U.S. anyway, and Canada, I think, is at least as bad. And he said, no, I'll find other places where I could actually make money.
Yeah.
And he then started a career going to primarily Central and South America. I don't think there was a mine in Mexico. I think maybe Bolivia. I'm forgetting. And had great success. I remember particularly one, I think it was South American mine, where he said, this looks very promising, but you couldn't see any visible gold. But when they took the samples to the assay office and ground them up really finely and extracted the gold, there's several different methods you can use to do that. They found there was a lot of gold. It was just in such fine particulates you couldn't see it.
Oh.
It was very, very finely ground. And there was a significant amount of gold in that mine went into production and made a lot of money on it. So, as I recall. So I'm just saying that we have these people who are very talented who go out there and make all of us more wealthy, because the more mineral wealth you can bring into production, the lower the prices for whatever mineral you're going for, and everybody benefits.
We still have gold mines in Arizona, don't we?
Yes, we do. I think I believe there are.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of gold is produced ancillary to other mining, like copper.
Mm-hmm.
Copper almost always has some gold in it because of the way it's formed. The ore is formed. So when you have a copper mine, you always extract the gold. And although it's a very small percentage of the metal taken out, it can account for a large percentage, relatively, of the wealth, of the value that's taken out, because it's so much more valuable. Right. I mean, copper's what? I'm guessing, I haven't followed it, but maybe $5 a pound or something like that.
Gold's
I
3,000 an ounce. Yeah.
Whereas gold is 4,000 an ounce now.
Yeah.
And
is it 4? Is it that high?
4. It's above 4 the last I looked.
Wow.
Yeah. It's very high. And also you usually get some silver too, not always, but it depends on the particular ore. But silver and copper and gold are similar in the periodic table, and they you find them together. They're often together. That reminds me of an old.
I just looked it up. It's 4,500 an ounce. I had no idea.
Yeah, pretty impressive. I still have. I had some gold, but I sold it to buy some other stuff. That deal fell through, so I just kept the cash. I didn't buy. But I have, I don't know, a couple ounces. No. I think I bought them at about $1,000, from $400 to $1,000 when I bought them.
Wow.
Well, but it's, what do you do? I mean, I bought them as an emergency hedge, and so they're still an emergency hedge. But I'm old enough now, I'll probably just end up giving them to my kids.
So Texas went to all this trouble and became a state and all that is all success. And now they got Jasmine Crockett. I mean, what a great deal.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how well liked she is in Texas. I think it's interesting that isn't she mounting a Senate run? Is that
I don't think she'll win, and most people don't, but she's going to raise a lot of notoriety, a lot of money. She'll get
a lot of money. I mean, I mean, it's not like there aren't any Democrats in Texas. Texas has a substantial Democrat population. They're not enough to call Texas a blue state. Texas is pretty red.
And it's interesting that Jasmine Crockett can go to a red state, very red state, Texas, and run as a Democrat and make a lot of money doing it, get a lot of notoriety, and that's, I think, what she's up to. But yet Stefanik in New York decided to run for governor, and then she pulled out. And I
think she looked at who President Trump was endorsing.
Trump was ready to endorse her. She backed out, and then Trump endorsed the other guy.
Oh, you're right. He did not make the endorsement until she backed out.
Right,
but when I had read an article that she felt he should have endorsed her. I think.
He would have, but because she's a very, very much a Trump ally. I listened to Victor David Hanson explain the whole situation today.
Oh yeah, he's a favorite commentator of mine. He's brilliant historian.
And he says she looked at, and I don't know if he talked to her directly, but she looked at the whole atmosphere of everything. And New York is so entrenched as a Democrat machine, they will grind you down and destroy you. And what will happen in a primary is the Republicans will spend a lot of money on winning the primary and have nothing left. And the Democrats have such a machine, and they will grind you down, destroy you. And she has a family and all that. She didn't want to. If that's all true, that's a sad commentary, a sad situation.
It is.
Yeah.
But in terms of having expensive primary battles and then not having the money that you need to buy advertisements and all that in the main election, that's happened in Arizona. We've had within the Republican Party, we've had it where people running for a high office spent so much time and money attacking each other in the primary that then they lost the general election.
Bad mistake. So Stefanik probably dropped out to save herself all of that, knowing what the outcome would be.
Well, yes, and you could say maybe she took one for the party too. So this isn't good to have two of us, battling each other when we might be able to win if there's only one.
Yeah, and that's what David Hanson thinks, and I respect his viewpoint.
He's brilliant. I mean, I often listen to him. I don't listen to him every day, but he puts out a daily analysis of things, of topics of the day, and talks about them and gives his viewpoint, explains why he thinks the way he does. He often gives data. He's just a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
He's about my age, so.
He's got to be smart then. Yeah.
He's a couple years younger, so he's had a lot of time to analyze things and think about situations. And I don't always agree with him, but we're aligned most of the time. I think just recently he put out a statement, and it was about why President Trump has lost support of younger people. And he was looking at some polls, and he said, well, here's what I think Trump should do. But then by the time I read it, some other polls had come out saying that Trump had gained significant support among younger people.
I thought he gained also. I do think he's gained.
So VDH, Victor Davis Hanson, was going on old information. And the information flow on these polls changes all the time. And so many polls I don't consider them reliable, because you can create a poll to put it forward whatever view you want to put forward. It's how you phrase the questions, what order you put the questions in, and then who you sample.
Right.
I mean, sometimes these samples are like 70% Democrats or whatever.
Well, and they're supposed to put all that data as reference material for their poll. And most
sometimes
of them do, but there are some that
sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And most people don't go to the trouble of looking up the data and figuring out
Edward
what's
does.
going on.
I mean, he always looks at that stuff, which is very helpful for me because I don't look at it. So he'll clue me in.
Well, it's so many polls, in my opinion, are meant they're not meant to purvey information, but to influence opinion.
Push polls, even.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A lot of them are push polls, and probably it's very hard. It takes considerable effort to design a poll so that it isn't a push poll to some extent or another. To make a truly neutral poll, the techniques are known. They're pretty well known, but they're not always easy to follow.
No. And sometimes you don't notice it when you're being pushed.
Really careful. You have to be really careful in your sampling. That's one of the easiest ways to get a push poll is you oversample a certain demographic.
Intentionally. They know.
Right. And then you get what you want. I mean, I was talking to, I forget I was talking to, but it was, I think it was an online discussion. And they said, well, look at this poll, and I said, yeah, but you got to be really careful about polls. Polls can be manipulated any which way you want. And so you've got to take all that into consideration before you say this is happening.
Particularly within the last weeks of the election, they'll.
Yeah,
because,
absolutely. Well, actually, I think some of the major polls get a little more careful and more factual.
Correct.
So that they can say, well, all that polling we did beforehand that claimed that X was going to win by a big margin, it all changed just before the election.
It's the smaller ones. The smaller ones will do the opposite towards the end. And say,
when they're trying to influence more.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I read an interesting article this morning about inflation. And we get the inflation numbers and all that. In fact, the latest growth number that just came out, not the inflation number, growth number was like 4.5%, the CDP. I mean,
I saw that. I was astounded. And that was delayed during
That was delayed for months. That's the third quarter.
And that's a really, it's a significant number.
And it came out during the holidays and hidden, I guess,
and it's not a poll.
No.
It's supposed to be a well-measured actual data.
No, but this article was about inflation. That just popped in my head. How the country's doing.
I just wanted to make it clear to the listeners that it wasn't full.
This article went and looked at the inflation per states based on whether which they don't really collect the information like they do for the country. It's a little different. They just looked at the year-over-year consumer price index data, which probably more accurate anyway. And that came right from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So they were looking at how well states are doing in comparison to their liberal status or conservative status. And they found out very quickly what we would have assumed, that conservative states had lower inflation than liberal states.
It's interesting. It's interesting that you see that because inflation is generally, monetary policy is national policy. So it's interesting that there is that significant difference between states.
It is. It was 2
It makes sense if more of the money that was created out of thin air during the Biden administration was directed toward liberal states.
It was. But they found the conservative states were 2.5% inflation versus, and this is for this year, versus 3%, which is a huge difference. That is not a small difference. That's big
difference.
But then
it doesn't sound like much, but it is a significant.
But when you get into the metro areas in conservative states, it was 1.9%, and still 3% in the liberal states.
That doesn't sound quite right to me. Are you sure that the metro areas only had 1.9%?
That's what it says. The inflation it widens in the city level in metro areas.
But what you're reporting, you said the average overall was about 2.7%.
2.5.
Right, and then in the conservative states, it was.
Well, that's a conservative state. Is 2.5 for the state, 1.9 for the metro areas.
So the metro areas
were doing better than the rural areas. Yeah.
Are you saying in the conservative states?
In the conservative states.
How about in the leftist states?
They remained the same average, 3%, 3% in the state, 3% in the metro areas. But in the conservative states, the metro areas were doing better than the rural areas. They were at 1.9.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know what that is. I don't know
the whole article. So I only saw the headline.
Well, this
so that's very interesting.
Yeah, this doesn't really go down deep into
the management makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Who's in charge?
Well, and it said cities, major metropolitan areas,
leftist states,
major metropolitan areas like Baltimore, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, energy prices increase more rapidly.
And a lot of that probably has to do with the so-called, green initiatives or whatever.
Right. It really hurt them.
Because, it's obvious that there's a very good writer. He's got good logic. It's called the Manhattan Contrarian. And you read his stuff, and he starts with basic physics, essentially, and says, and he talks about how energy supply systems work and why wind and solar are very, very expensive, even though their production costs are not super high. It's because they're intermittent. And the cost of storage for energy is so high that you cannot depend on solar and on wind. Now, Arizona actually has in southwestern Arizona, is probably the best place in the country for solar energy. So I'm not saying you should get rid of solar. It's just a fact that the sun doesn't shine at night. So you have an intermittent supply. And when you have an intermittent supply, somebody else, some nuclear or fossil fuel plant has to pick up the difference when the supply doesn't meet the demand. Yeah. So what Manhattan Contrarian, and I'm synopsizing, I'm paring down his argument, essentially you have to build two power systems then. You have to build the solar and the wind system, and then you have to build a backup system with nuclear, fossil fuels, or whatever. And it's very expensive to build two whole systems.
Correct.
Even though you may get energy from both at times, but you need the system that can be on all the time, be able to pick up the peak loads when the other system doesn't work. So it becomes very expensive.
Since we're talking about energy, something we've been aware of is gas prices. And in fact,
yes,
gas prices have been going down everywhere, but in Yuma they're not.
And I've thought of that. Go ahead, give me your thoughts.
Well, I was saying Phoenix and that too, but California is closing their refineries right now. Well, they're not closing it. The businesses are. They're getting chased out, and they're mad at all the policies, the way they've been treated. They can't make money in that state, and they're leaving. Well, we get our gas from California refinery. We don't have a single refinery in the state of Arizona.
Yeah, they tried to build one out in Taxon. I'm all for it, but it's repeatedly been stopped by, my understanding, environmental lawsuits and such.
Yeah, they still own the property. It's still, I guess, open, but I sounds dead. But anyway, we're in Arizona. We're not really doing well. We're at $3 a gallon.
There's a big difference between Western Arizona, and Eastern Arizona.
Well,
you get over to Tucson, the gas prices are much lower.
Well, they get their gas from
Texas
refineries, and we get ours from refineries. And there's no pipeline that's going to run it to Yuma. So we're going to be in a world of hurt very soon. Now, I don't know if you've read this news, but Texaco, the gas stations, are pulling out of Arizona.
No, I didn't know that.
Well,
I had read that, but I'd read that the Valero refineries were being closed in California, as you say.
Right.
And there's more than Valero. There was another big, I forget which.
There's a couple of them that are closing. I mean, they're going to be pretty much done.
The refineries because the California government basically says, please don't close the refineries right now. We'll stop persecuting you for a little while.
I don't trust them. They don't trust them.
I wouldn't trust them either.
Yeah. They're going to do it.
And so they're even taking considerable losses to close their refineries in California just to get out from under the persecution of the California government.
Well, and the potential bigger losses in the future.
Yes, of course. I mean, I'm not saying it's irrational.
It's time to write it off. Time to write it off. Well, we're going to be hurt. I mean, for us to get gas, it's going to have to be bussed in or trucked in.
Well, since I just drove, not very long ago, a few days ago, from Arizona into Texas, I'll tell you that in Texas, I saw gas stations advertising gas regular as low as $2.16 a gallon.
Yeah, I'm looking at the charts now for the states. Texas average is $2.43.
Yes, and I purchased gas at $2.43.9 at Casa Grande on my way to Texas.
Oh, really?
Yes,
because they've got a pipeline.
They get their fuel from Texas, is my understanding.
And Yuma doesn't have that access.
No.
So it'll have to be trucked in, and that adds a lot of extra dollars.
45 cents higher in that neighborhood.
Sure.
Now, what may happen is that maybe we will get more gas from Texas. I don't know for sure, but it could happen.
Yeah. Well, there's another problem with Arizona that I didn't really realize, that our legislature has, because they want to protect everybody, have their own, which a lot of states do. They have their own mix requirements, their own formulation.
I didn't realize that. I knew California did.
We do too, and there's not a lot of refineries that can make it.
Oh my! Well, that sounds like you could have some legislative reform that might help us.
Possibly, but right now, we've got some mixtures that some companies have set up for, but other companies don't have it.
Right. That regulatory reform will not happen under the current governor. I'll tell you that.
Well, she's got to be a little scared. She's running for re-election. High gas prices don't help her.
No, they don't. But I don't see her. She's had more vetoes than any other governor I think we've ever had in history.
Well, but at least she's proud of it.
Yeah, right. Well, for her constituents, they go, yes, you're resisting democracy or whatever. Yeah. I mean, you're resisting the people we don't like for whatever reason.
Yeah, we're anti-Trump, so let's run with that, and that's pretty much what they're doing.
Yeah, so we're going to veto almost all the Republican bills. I think they did get a couple passed. She did sign.
Oh, yeah, there was a few.
Yeah,
she had to do some, and I guess it's she's really been like a warlord running that place. I mean, executive branch does have final say, and she's been taking opportunity to do everything.
Well, and the Republicans just don't have enough of a majority to override her vetoes generally.
No, but usually you have to cooperate with the majority, even if it's a small majority, in order to get things.
To accomplish what needs to be accomplished,
and what you want done. Sure.
Yes, exactly. And
it's a compromise at times. So she doesn't compromise.
You give us that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's been terrible. But we're going to be in trouble with the energy, which is saddened. There's no quick solution, no easy solution. It's going to have to be trucked in, and that's expensive.
Right.
So our gas prices are not going to reach national averages.
Right.
Or what Texas does. And we're going to be...
Our gas prices will not fall to the national average.
No. If anything...
That's correct.
If anything, they may go up slightly. They may go up.
That's my expectation when I heard about the refineries closing in California, was that our gas would cost more in Yuma.
Yeah.
And maybe Phoenix, too. Phoenix is closer to the Texas border than we are, so maybe they might get some benefit. But as you said, if our formulation requirements, if there's nobody in Texas making that gas...
Well, there's got to be some, because it is coming into Tucson. So
that's right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
But apparently it's not all refineries are going to be able to do it.
Well, there's a cost to transporting it, too.
Yes.
And transporting truck is much more expensive than transporting by pipeline.
We're not as big a danger as California. California's getting their gas offshore. Literally, their gas is coming offshore.
I have heard of prices in California outrageous, over $5, $6 a gallon.
Oh yeah, they're talking about it going up to 7 or 8 this summer.
It's insane. I mean, what we are seeing, of course, is that the middle class is fleeing California because they've been so abused by the politicians.
Yeah, they're leaving. But at least they've got electric cars. They have more electric cars percentage-wise than any other state, I think. And but now they just don't. They have power outages. San Francisco shut down power the other day because they had
it was down for several hours. I don't know how long it was down for.
Well, some of the San Francisco's still not up. It shut down 130,000 people. They had a fire in one of the switching stations or something. And
substation. I heard, and nobody. I didn't ever get any news about what caused the fire. I mean,
don't know.
My immediate reaction, which probably is wrong, was that it was some homeless person.
Well,
but that could be wrong. It very likely is wrong. It's just that was my immediate reaction.
It was extensive damage. It's a complex fix, and apparently it could take up to a year.
Only a year.
Oh, yeah.
No, because some of these major transformers are very difficult to replace. Most of them are made in China now. I mean, President Trump is trying to change that. So only a year is an improvement. I'd heard some of the waits for transformers can be 4 or 5 years.
Because there's no spares. They don't have spares laying around.
Yeah, well, some of these, like a substation, they're more likely to have spares than some substations. The substations that exist at the ends of major transmission lines, they almost never have spares for. But that is also something that President Trump in his first term was trying to accomplish, was have money go to systems that could be put in place. Major system was destroyed.
But he did accomplish it. He got that accomplished in that the whole plan and the money was set aside to harden the grid and update the grid. Biden killed it so that he could have electric gas station pumps, which he put billions of dollars into it.
And for green initiatives.
Green initiatives. It all went into green initiative. He pulled it all out of hardening the grid, which now, we know the grid's vulnerable and it could be shut down. I
have a very good friend of mine is an electrical engineer, and 30 years ago he was warning me and saying, look, we're not putting the money into making the transmission lines and upgrading the infrastructure because of basically the electrical companies are not being allowed to have enough money to do it because the public won't stand for the rate increases.
Right.
And of course, so much has gone into green initiatives. The power companies do not make money when they're forced to subsidize solar and wind.
No. It was a national security interest, so Trump was going to have that done with national money.
That's huge. I thought it was absolutely the right thing to do, but you're correct. As I recall, is that the Biden administration killed the hardening, which is crazy because it's very much national security to have a more durable grid.
Yeah.
And now President Trump is reinvigorating. There was some things in the big, beautiful bill to create more energy and to make the grid much more robust.
There's been people out there that have sat down and calculated, like, if we lost our whole grid in the country and had to rebuild it, 100 million people would die.
I think that's probably an underestimate. I've studied that pretty extensively, and I've read those studies. I've read the papers. I've looked at the scenarios. It all depends on how long the grid was out.
Sure.
But if you take down the whole grid, it'd take a long time to get it back up. If it goes for 6 months, maybe 100 million. If it goes for a year, maybe it's 150 million, because if you have a whole growing season where farmers can't grow crops because they have no diesel fuel or electricity, well, that's very bad.
Right. And major cities,
a lot of people would die.
Major cities would have access to nothing.
Because they wouldn't have most of them would probably not have operating water and sewer systems because mostly that requires power.
Right.
But there are a few places that run on gravity feed that maybe would work.
Only when they
I
pump it
don't-
up, though. You have to have a,
Well, there's some that maybe get their supply. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a major city that gets their supply from a high enough elevation that they wouldn't have to pump it. But even then, because of variations in elevation within a city, you usually have to have some pumping stations.
Yep.
And even for sewage,
Pumping,
you pump some of it uphill.
We have pumping stations for sewage all over Yuma. They have to have them. Yeah.
They have to, right?
So you shut all that down, and you can't flush the toilets. You don't have any water.
Yeah, and then people start dumping their sewage outside or in the local creek or whatever, and
you run out of gas. When your gas tank's dry, there's no way to pump new gas. So transportation breaks down and all break. You're not going to eat.
So that's right. I mean, and that's why so many people would die if the grid goes down.
Yeah.
There's all these infrastructures that we depend on for life in the United States, because we have such concentrated populations in the cities, particularly. They go bad and people die.
It made perfect sense. Perfect sense for Trump to do that. And it made sense that Biden took it out because they don't care. Okay, they live on chaos. They wanted to go to green energy to save the planet.
It's hard for me to believe that even the most evil Democrats, well, no, the most evil maybe, but certainly most people on the left don't want half the population of the U.S. to die off.
Probably not.
I don't believe they do. They just are unwilling to accept the reality of that risk, I think, is what's going on.
Yeah.
Now, the other side is maybe people who think the U.S. is a bad power in the world, maybe China or Russia, maybe they would like that. It would take the U.S. out as a major player in the world. And who knows how long it might take for us to recover, or whether some other country would decide we like that property with all that grain growing ever. The U.S. is in a very bad way right now. They can't field major forces for very long. It's a good time for us to take, Washington, California, and Oregon or something.
Well, our military has backup generators. I wouldn't mess with them.
I think our military is better prepared for an off-grid grid going off than almost any other segment of society.
They upgraded the electricity and hardening the electricity at the Marine Corps Air Station here in Yuma a few years ago. They put in backup generators. They're hardened and all that stuff.
The military is better prepared.
Yeah.
And then there are the preppers, survivalists, whatever you want to call them. I mean, if you have a couple of years' supply of food and you can defend it, you may survive. But defending it's important, because if you're eating and the people around you aren't, they might want some.
Yep, things get crazy, buddy. They do.
Yep.
I would imagine. I don't know. Speaking of crazy, Tim Walz.
Oh, yes. Oh, gosh, that's a horrible story, but yes.
You saw where 98 Minnesota mayors wrote a letter to him concerned about all the money, concerned about the unchecked spending, the fraud, the inconsistent financial management, you name it.
Yeah, he's kind of like a Newsom from California without the charisma.
Right, but he's got jazz hands.
I mean, it's just like, how can you be so, I think, irresponsible may be the right word. Well, if we spend all this money, the federal government just gives us more.
But 98 mayors, that's an open revolt against their leader. Now, I'm sure those mayors are Democrats too, I would assume.
I don't know.
It doesn't list.
I didn't go down the list and try to figure out which were Democrats and which were Republicans. My presumption is that most of them were Republicans, because California has become kind of like other states. They've got blue cities and red rural areas. And in the rural areas, there's a significant amount of, I think it's like probably 45% or something of the population. But the blue cities, which have imported, hundreds of thousands of Somalis, for example, they overwhelm the red rural areas in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So that's how Governor Walz gets elected, is that he has the support of overwhelmingly Democratic Minneapolis and St. Paul, and probably some other cities. Those two particularly in Minnesota.
Yeah, the concerns were well laid out, and they put it all out there.
Yeah, they basically said, "Look at all this money you're spending. What do we get for it? Nothing."
Yeah, he's and he's. I think he's still running. Is he still a presidential candidate? You think? I don't know. I mean, none of them's confirmed.
I read one report that claimed he was considering running for president in 2028.
Yeah.
Now that seemed unlikely to me, but he hasn't exhibited strong rational skills.
Oh no, which is perfect for the Democrat Party.
Yeah, well, hey, maybe we'll have a rematch. Kamala Harris is supposed to be in the lead for the Democratic presidential contender in 2028.
Yeah,
I mean, there was some internal polling at a leadership conference of Democrats that came up with that. It wasn't high. She only had like 10%, but it was the highest of one of several.
Yep, and he.
So maybe we could have a Harris-Walz re-campaign against whoever the Republican candidate would be in 2028.
Yeah, I somehow doubt it.
I don't know. I think the Democrats in particular are in a fairly chaotic situation. And they're good at creating chaos, so maybe it's not too surprising, the chaos within their own party. There's a big fight, and the far left, progressive, whatever you will call them, side of the party seems to be winning.
Yeah. Oh, progressives are winning. That's why Crockett's so popular.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, correct.
Yeah, she's whether she's a thug or whatever she is, she gets a lot of hits. So popularity, regardless of the rationale and reason behind it, have made her money.
She's Ivy League educated.
Yeah.
She speaks standard English very well when she wants to.
Sure.
But for her purposes of rabble-rousing, gaining contributions, and possibly elected office,
she goes right to thug.
She tends to, emit closer to inner city black dialogue.
Yeah.
Dialogue, I said, but I should maybe there's I'm sure a better term, dialect, probably.
Whatever it is, she's a thug.
I don't know that. I mean, she elicits that persona. I don't know if she really is.
In this letter that the Minnesota mayors put in there, they also talked about unfunded mandates regarding the schools, the health, the human services, public safety.
Right.
It's not just that they're stealing the money. They're telling the governors or the mayors.
The mayors, you have to spend it this way. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, we don't have any money to give you.
That's right. Spend your own money this way, and we're not going to give you any money.
They're having to raise taxes. In a place that's not low. It's not a low tax state.
No, Minnesota is a fairly high tax state. I actually have been surprised as I've gained knowledge and wisdom over the years how much difference there is between Wisconsin and Minnesota. Right next door, rather similar, geology. And Minnesota is just much higher tax than even Wisconsin. Wisconsin is not low tax. This is my understanding, let me say, and I could be corrected. Somebody could look up the statistics and find out I'm wrong. We've had a Democratic governor in Wisconsin for several years now, Tony Earl. No, it's not Earl. I'm sorry, I'm misrepresenting. It's a former governor, but we have a pretty far left governor. But the legislature remains red. It's strongly Republican in the state, which makes you wonder, how does that happen?
Well, same thing in Arizona.
Such a high concentration of Democrats in the cities is what causes it.
Yeah, we got the same. Same here.
Right.
I don't know if you saw the Supreme Court. Well, they didn't rule. They rejected a request from the president to handle that National Guard troops to Chicago thing. he wanted to send the National Guard, so he did send the National Guard to Chicago.
Right.
And the federal courts said he couldn't do it, so he
they
appealed to the
have
Supreme
not.
Court.
That's unusual. He's been winning most of those cases.
Well, this one was rejected.
Yeah, well, they probably said we're not going to have an emergency session to decide it.
Right.
Which doesn't mean they won't decide it later.
Yeah, but there's three justices.
It's unusual.
Three
He's
justices.
been winning.
There's three justices that
opined on it?
Yeah, the outcome is. That was Alito, Thomas, and Gorsuch. They dissented.
Those three justices said we should have taken
it. Right.
Yeah, okay. So they couldn't get a fourth justice to agree. They need four justices to take a case like that.
Yeah. No.
So they're one justice short.
Yeah.
So, he's been winning most of these emergency measures. But I think if he's lost this one, he's won like 26 or 28 or something.
But here's what they're afraid of. They're afraid that this precedence will go to the other states, obviously. And they won't be able to. And they need this National Guards to support the Border Patrol, the ICE agents that are there and not getting support from the locals, police officers, because they're sanctuary.
Right.
And they're celebrating in Chicago, at least the Attorney General and stuff celebrating it. But what they're celebrating is that the criminals won a case.
Yes, exactly. No, that's precisely what they're not quite in open revolt, but it reminds me from history of the southern states before the Civil War. Where they I believe President Trump is will follow the dictates of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
He will not push for an unconstitutional usurpation of power, and he will continue. He's been winning most of the emergency cases that go to that are appealed to the Supreme Court. He's been winning those by overwhelming numbers. So maybe there's a particular thing here. He might look at it and say, well, they're saying that I can't take troops from a different state. I have to use Illinois troops or something. I'm not sure. I'd have to read the decision to determine the specifics.
Well, I think this is bad for the National Guard, and I don't know what the administration is going to do, but they're not going to pull out and let the citizens, get run over with these illegals. But.
Yeah, I mean, it's very plausible that the decision says you can't do this with them. There are certain things that the president inherently has power to that are well established by precedent in the courts, like protect federal property.
Right.
And so my understanding is that a lot of the National Guard troops that he mobilized in Chicago were particularly protecting federal property.
They were protecting ICE agents and Border Patrol, so they weren't necessarily always on out in the field.
I really would need to read the decision and see what it says you can.
I'm running out of time. I've got to run, buddy.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you,
Merry
sir.
Christmas to all.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Partly cloudy skies today. An isolated shower could pop up with a high of 78. 10 to 20 mile per hour southeast winds today. Cloudy and 61 for tonight. Beautiful Christmas Day tomorrow. Mostly sunny and 78. Partly cloudy and 55 on Thursday night. Friday, cloudy and 72.
To be a part of Russ's show, call 928-344-5258. That's 928-344-5258.
Tis the season for cozy nights, holiday movies, and full houses, so make sure your internet can keep up. Allo Fiber brings you lightning-fast 100% fiber optic internet that doesn't slow down when everyone's home for the holidays. Check them out at allofiber.com.
At Exceptional Community Hospital, we are redefining what emergency care should feel like. Fast, personal, and compassionate. Our experienced ER physicians and staff are here 24/7 to care for your unexpected illness or injury. Don't wait for emergency care when you can be seen in minutes. With short wait times, you'll get the prompt attention you need because every minute matters. And if your recovery takes longer, we provide the inpatient care you deserve. Exceptional Community Hospital. Compassionate care, exceptional service.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Maybe you haven't heard about us. We're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless has you paying for more data than you might need. Why? They might want you to cover the costs of younger people who do use all that data. If you're not using the data, you're probably being used. We've heard time and time again that some Big Wireless customers get stuck paying hundreds and even thousands more for years and years because they think it's hard to switch. Not with us. It takes just about 20 minutes and you can change your plan anytime without extra charges. We use the same towers as the big guys, so you'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Our plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
The weather outside is frightful. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. For Southern California, heavy rain, and that could trigger flash floods, especially in areas scorched by wildfires in January, leading to evacuation orders.
My message to Angelinos as we go into the Christmas holiday is to stay safe, be prepared, and stay informed.
LA Mayor Karen Bass. As for the flooding threat, Fox weather meteorologist Britta Merwin reports.
Level 4 out of 4, so the highest urgency of flash flood preparedness needed for Southern California, and we do drop it to a level 3 for tomorrow. So unfortunately, we're looking at several inches of rain in areas that are very hard hit from the recent burn scars.
There could also be more flooding in Northern California. They're mourning a state trooper murdered in Delaware at a DMV office.
The suspect approached a trooper who was working an overtime assignment, sitting at the reception desk, and shot him.
And State Police spokesman Rashawn Rich says that trooper was a hero, pushing a DMV worker out of the way before being shot again. A police officer shot and killed the gunman. What caused a natural gas leak, and was that the cause of 2 explosions at a nursing home in Bristol Township, Pennsylvania? It's being investigated. Hank Flynn with Fox 29 TV is there.
There were initially believed to be 3 deaths here. One of the people taken to Lower Bucks Hospital was resuscitated, so it remains 2 dead, 20 hospitalized as an explosion yesterday afternoon rocked this Silver Lake nursing home and rehabilitation facility.
We got news on the economy showing a slight decrease in unemployment last week. 214,000 claims. The number of people still collecting jobless benefits rose by 38,000, 1.92 million. Some of us have to work on Christmas Eve, but not government employees.
President Trump signed an executive order adding today and Friday to the Christmas Day federal holiday. The action gives federal workers a long weekend, but just for this year, it would require an act of Congress to create a permanent federal holiday.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern. America's listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-393-1881. That's 800-393-1881. 800-393-1881.
From the News 11's Information Desk, I'm Janine Aguilera. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs continued to erase millions of dollars in medical debt for local Arizonans. On Monday, Governor Hobbs announced that more than 141,000 Arizonans had their medical debts erased. She, in partner with the organization Undo Medical Debt, has now cleared medical debt for over 485,000 people in Arizona. This amounts to $642 million. Plus, a local family is continuing their neighbor's legacy and spreading holiday cheer throughout their community this Christmas. The beloved neighbor Grandma Candy Cane used to pass out candy canes every night at her Yuma home for decades. But after she passed from cancer a few years ago, neighbors wanted to keep her legacy alive and keep passing out the treats to families. This December, Di Rocio and her family have stood outside their home every night, passing out more than 800 candy canes so far. Catch us on the TV side on News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
Well, it's all fun and games until you're stuck with bad internet. Not so much fun. Say goodbye to bad internet. Say hello to local support from a company that believes in better. Say goodbye to the spinning wheel of doom and the regular equipment rebooting. And say hello to a hassle-free experience. Say goodbye to the internet struggles of yesterday and say hello to a provider that picks our community and provides a product and service that's locally rooted right here in our hometown. Find out more at allofiber.com. That's allofiber.com.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3".
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. It is Wednesday morning, the 24th of December, Christmas Eve morning. Some of you are sleeping in. Some businesses are closed. A lot of them are going to close early. You know, they're gonna go out there. In fact, I talked to somebody from YPG this morning. Met him at the Circle K at 4 o'clock in the morning. They're gonna kick out at 1 o'clock. A lot of them. People that don't get to kick out early probably are, all your security forces. Police departments, the sheriff's office, border, customs. All those guys got to keep going. They've got to protect and make sure we're in good shape. Careful out there during the season. We don't need problems, incidences of drunk driving, that kind of stuff. Be careful. Get a designated driver, whatever. Have a good time. Don't make new friends in places you don't want to be. That's not good. That's not good. Make it easy on our officers that have to work this duty. Make their night joyous. Don't give them auto accidents and stuff. I got to tell you, I was riding in the rain yesterday a little bit, driving. I saw very cautious drivers out there yesterday. I was very pleased. I thought, man, this is great. These guys want to have a Merry Christmas. They don't really want to have a bent fender or some tragedies or something, or need an ambulance and all. So there was a lot of cautious drivers. And there's going to be some more last-minute shopping today, some people getting out there and doing things. Hopefully not too many. It's not fun to go out this time. But there'll be some people open. There'll be some open today. And be careful. Make sure you set yourself up for a very happy Christmas and all that stuff. When I already covered this, the Supreme Court rejected Trump's administration's request to allow the president to proceed with immediately deploying National Guard troops to Chicago. And, of course, that's not good. But in Illinois, the Attorney General, Kwame Roll, he praised the decision. Nearly 250 years ago, the framers of our nation's Constitution carefully divided responsibility over the country's militia. Today, U.S. National Guard between the federal government and the states, believing it impossible that a president would use one state's militia against another state, the extremely limited circumstances under which the federal government can call up the militia over a state's objection do not exist in Illinois. And I'm pleased that the streets of Illinois remain free of armed National Guard members as our litigation continues in the courts. And it's going to continue in the courts. And what Trump's trying to do is make it safe for everybody, particularly ICE and Border Patrol that are in Chicago, having to work under terrible conditions because the police will not help. The local authorities won't help. They're a sanctuary state. And they said, we're not going to help you. So they had to bring in for protection because you got these groups that get together, rapid response groups that get together and stand in the way, block traffic, do whatever they can to thwart the ICE and protect the criminals. So what this is doing is, I guess, allowing the streets to be back to the criminals. That's what Chicago wants. That's why so many people are leaving Chicago. There'll be some appeals, but right now they've blocked the troops, and of course Trump will Trump will do what the courts say, even though he's a king. That's according to the left, I guess, that he say he's a king. If he was really king, they wouldn't be able to protest at all. That'd get stopped. But there's Trump has sought to deploy hundreds of National Guard troops to a growing list of Democrat-led cities despite opposition from local and state leaders. He's faced opposition from a handful of federal courts. He has a great record in the Supreme Court. This was just refusing to hear it. But it wasn't a legal decision as much as it was supporting the legal decision of a lower court, which said he could not send the troops. Unfortunately, so we'll see where that goes. Pope Leo is in the news. But let me take a phone call first. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Russ. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Carl. Good morning.
I'm having a little trouble with what you're saying today is I don't understand how when somebody's breaking the law or if you were even robbing a bank, how the government or a judge come up and say, well, you could not come into my town and stop these people from murdering people, shooting people, robbing banks, bringing in all kinds of drugs.
Yeah, well, that's not what they're saying. They're saying they can't deploy National Guard to help. They can't stop the ICE agents, the Border Patrol agents, but those guys are undermanned for what they've got to do because they don't have the support of the local police. So the National Guard was really to back up ICE and Border Patrol and protect federal institutions. Now I think they can still do that, protect federal property, but they can't go on a raid with the Border Patrol as just to help crowd control and stuff. It's too bad. And it's up to those states. That's what happens when you vote in that leadership, that governor, and that it's terrible. And these states have people fleeing like crazy.
Well, they have to flee.
Yeah.
California is just totally horrible.
Well, so's Minnesota now. I mean, it's not going to have any money. The taxes are going to go crazy. You think they're high now? They're going to have to pay all that back, all that fleecing from that Somalia group.
Yeah, but haven't they proved that Tim that he's behind all of this? He knows about it.
Who? Waltz?
Yeah, Tim Waltz.
I mean, I've read reports that says he is, but I haven't seen any charges or anything that specifies what his role is. But all this, it's all happened under his watch, for sure. And when I say Somalis, keep in mind, it's only the people that are arrested so far. It's only 90% Somalians, and yet they don't represent 90%. Huh? It's only 90% of the people been arrested are Somalians.
Yeah, I know. Say, what does he need? 95% of them to be arrested to do anything about it?
Oh, they're doing something about it now, but but you can't say it's 100% Somalians. There's other citizens involved, I guess.
Well, 10%. So.
Yeah.
Well, I just totally amazed that how people can get away with breaking the law and these people can stop President Trump from saying you cannot break the law. So I'm just having a hard time with that.
Yeah.
And just and I'm going to go back to Michelle Pena for a minute. Look how good a job she did for the Republicans, and look how hard the Democrats came out with all the pictures and all the stuff that they did last time, trying to keep her from winning, trying to turn our state blue again.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're doing now is they couldn't do it that way. So this time they're just going to put more candidates up against her and say they're Republicans to go against her, trying to knock her out.
Yep, that's all legal, by the way. You can do that.
Yeah. Sure. But now we just got to see if we the people are smart enough to see what the hell they're doing.
Oh, I looked it up, by the way. Somalians in Minnesota, they make up 1.5% to 2% of the population. And yet they're 90% of the people arrested for fraud.
Yes.
Wow.
And they have a big foothold in the big city there, don't they?
Yes,
Where
they've
control the
all grouped together in Minneapolis.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and Tim Walton not doing anything about it.
Well, he's supporting the Somalians.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he doesn't.
Now, would that be legal? A lot of them came over and we opened the door and handed them a check, didn't we?
Well, that's all people that came in illegal. There was programs in place with the federal government under Biden put that together to be done by NGOs so that his hands were clean. Yeah.
Now these Somalians that live in the United States, now when the government let them in, did they also give them a card where they can vote?
I don't know. I mean, it's a great question. That I haven't compared the voter fraud stuff, although they're finding a lot more voter fraud. But I don't know.
So who's letting these Somalians vote?
I don't know. I don't know if they are. I mean, I imagine there might be some of them, but I have no information on that. Not in front of me.
So how do they have so much control? Or they just get a lot of money?
Well, I guess the politicians in Minneapolis are afraid of them. You don't want to be called a racist, so they give in to them, and of course, whatever wins Minneapolis wins the state, according to some politicians over there. I've read those opinions.
Yeah. Sounds like it goes back to Salolinski rules for radicals to me.
Don't know.
Have a good day, Radical.
Thank you, man. Be good. That was Mr. Carl. Yeah, the Pope's in the news. Pope Leo, he grew up in Chicago. You know, I don't think that gets noted enough, but we actually have a Pope that grew up in the United States. You know, Chicago is still the United States. It's a little dangerous, but still in the United States. And he's disappointed. He's disappointed with Pritzker. I'll tell you why. Let me take a phone call first. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Clyde.
You know, I listened to you and Dean for the last hour. I don't know why, but I did.
Oh, man. It's too bad.
I'm trying. Yeah, too bad. I'm trying to understand your guys' economic perspective on. I guess you guys mentioned that conservative states have lower inflation than non-conservative states, and I have this conversation with a good friend of mine all the time because talking about minimum wage, because we know minimum wage will obviously drive up the prices of wherever we go to shop at or what have you not. So California has a higher minimum wage. You must got what some people call, or Arizona has what some people call a higher minimum wage or whatever. And we talk about minimum wages that are still under the federal, that's where their minimum wage is set at.
Well, unless the state overrides it, which we've done in Arizona.
Correct, as we have. But there are still states that have not overridden that.
Right.
That it's still the federal minimum wage that runs their guidelines. And talk about, well, just a better place to live there and all that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't think Pepsi Cola sells their product, or anybody that makes products to a grocery store, I don't think they sell it cheaper to a state that is, under the federal minimum wage. At least I don't think that they do. I don't think gasoline is any cheaper in the state that minimum wage is. It fluctuates all across, depending how close you are to a pipeline, how far it's got to be trucked in, where it's coming from. I know if you look here in Yuma, our gas, the majority of it comes from California.
Yeah. I worked in a large business that was in every state. I worked in warehousing, distribution, and that was Genuine Parts Company. We charged the same price in every state for that product. It was just the same every state. That doesn't mean that by the time it got into the store, it was the same price, because every store had to charge the public what what the value was. I mean, to cover their expenses. And if the minimum wage was high, of course they charge more than a state, like Wisconsin or something out in the, that didn't have that problem. So yeah, it doesn't at the warehousing level, and I'm sure at the raw gas and all that kind of stuff, it's based on other factors, not minimum wage. Because minimum wage doesn't affect them as much, so much automation, but it does at the store that has to sell the gas. So it will fluctuate in bigger cities or in states that have higher minimum wage, because eventually, and my genuine parts company was Napa, so these Napa stores throughout Arizona have to pay twice as much as federal minimum wage, and knowing that, they're going to charge more at the cash register.
Well, and so there's and what you say has some validity to it, but I like to go a step further. So what I did is I called the local AutoZone store here in Yuma to price a starter.
Mm-hmm.
And then I Googled a AutoZone store in Pennsylvania and called to price the starter for the same vehicle.
Right.
The same price.
Yes. And what you got a hold of was corporate owned. And just like Genuine Parts Company, which is corporate owned, they would keep similar pricing no matter where they were. But these independents can't do that.
Pretty fair to say that everything is corporate owned in the United States nowadays. I mean, there's some mom and pop. There's some mom and pop things. But when's the last time you went to a mom and pop automobile sales place?
Yesterday.
They don't even exist anymore.
Yesterday.
Where?
Napa. Napa's mom and pop.
Napa's corporate. You just got through telling me that.
Well, Napa corporate is the distribution, and then in the metropolitan area, they're all corporate owned stores. But when you start getting into rural areas like Yuma, they're mom and pops.
Okay.
Yeah.
I probably could imagine if you call rural Pennsylvania and you call rural Yuma County, and I bet you that starter is going to be the same price.
You might start
to each other.
You might start finding some differences there. I mean, it's up to the owners. It's up to the owners.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. But I'm just trying to prove my point of economic, where you guys were talking about it. Just like our gasoline, the majority of it comes from California.
Mm-hmm.
We have McNeese. They bring all their gas over from there. Chevron brings all their gas over from there.
Mm-hmm.
So
they won't for very long.
Why is that?
They're closing the refineries in a couple months. It's going to be gone, all gone.
It'll be interesting then. So gas is going to go up in California probably to $12, $14. It's interesting to see diesel here in Yuma finally came down to $3 and a penny a gallon, which is pretty close to what unleaded is.
Yeah, we pay a much higher price in Yuma than the national price of gas.
Well, I've just been to Phoenix quite a bit here in the last month and a half, and I find where Gila Bend used to be pretty reasonable is now way over the price of what we are. And even when you get into Phoenix, we're still lower than Phoenix.
Yes. But we're going to go up once California does. I don't know how much. I hope not much, but they'll have to truck it in. And from Tucson gets their gas from Texas, on that side of the state. It comes in from Texas. But we don't have that pipeline running over here. And we're going to probably have to have it trucked in.
Well, we have always had it trucked in. We don't have a pipeline here.
Well, I don't know about that. I know there's a pipeline that goes to Phoenix and it runs through Yuma. I don't know if it drops off here or not. But right now the trucking in, if it does, it gets trucked in from California a lot closer.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'm just saying is I don't see how the inflation part can be where you can use it, if it's a conservative state or not, is going to drive
a lot of it
prices of our commodity or inflation.
According to the articles I'm reading, a lot of it's driven by the price of energy too. And all these states like Baltimore, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, and those big cities, they've made electricity prices much higher than conservative states. Conservative states, can keep the prices down more. And that's
the light bulb just turned on your and Dean's brain that energy runs the prices of everything we do. I mean, gasoline, fuel prices run what our vegetable prices are going to be. Everything gets trucked in everywhere.
No,
energy.
I'm reading. I'm reading articles that people have gone into the Bureau of Labor Statistics and pulled all the year-over-year consumer price indexes and compared states that were run by conservatives and states that were run by liberals. And they came up with an overall average of 2.5% inflation for 2025 in conservative-led states and 3% for liberal-led states, which I think is an interesting survey, an interesting. And so then they start looking at metro areas, and they found in conservative states, metro areas were lower than the 2 point. They were down to 1.9 versus 3%.
Where are you reading this article from? I'm interested because it's like an article of some it's like the light bulb just turned on. I mean, prices of fuel have gone up consistently through all our life,
Right.
every year. And when it gets up real high, it'll come down a little bit low, but it's never going to go back to what it was.
But
it's just going to drop back down.
It's different per state because of taxes and regulations. And like California's high for one reason. I mean, they're higher than Yuma for one reason, and that's just the government, the way it's run.
Well, the government, and they have higher road tax and what have you not, because each state will set their road tax of where it's going to be.
Absolutely.
But the bottom line is, we know that energy, fuel, diesel is what runs our country.
Absolutely. No, you're right, and that's what
You
this.
shouldn't have to turn a headlight on or a bulb on in your head to realize that, oh my God, as the price of fuel increases, everything else is going to increase.
We'll go tell the liberal states. And so inflation runs higher in the liberal states, and I'll send you a copy of the article. But it's running higher, and I found it interesting this morning. I didn't know anyone ever did that research because normally we just get the inflation rates for the entire country.
Well, if you guys, they make different, the refineries make different mixes for summertime, wintertime, the blends that they make, that I heard you mention that. If you guys want to really, really know, you probably should call our local fuel distributors here in town, and they can tell you all of how that all operates, and as far as the different blends, winter blend, summer blend, what is the price of a gallon? I mean, is the price of fuel actually gasoline, the base, taking all the taxes off of it? Is it the same price coming out of each refinery?
Possibly.
No matter where it's at?
Possibly. I don't know. But what
That
matters
be a good
is
study instead of studying what the hell, this city or whatever their tax rate is or whatever, because then you're able to go and start. If you're going to do a study, start at the very, very beginning. Don't go pick a range of where you're going to start and go forward.
This was interested in inflation. Now all those other factors come into play. And even if the price is the same coming out of the nozzle, Yuma's going to pay more because you have to truck it further. So it doesn't matter. What matters is what the inflation rate is in Yuma and what we're doing here. And that's what the story's on. This story is on the actual inflation on states' averages for conservative versus liberal. Conservatives would have less inflation.
If you have a link to it, would you text it to me, please?
I will.
I'm just interested now because, I'm tired of fake news and artificial intelligence. It puts our mindset of where we're going to be. So it makes your mind say, okay, you know what? I'm just going to have to pay more gas because this is where I live. I'm going to have to pay more for my steak because I live here.
But everybody knows that. You go to California, you're going to pay higher gas. Than if
and that brings to, I buy groceries. I'm in the market all the time, but I'm also in San Diego a lot too. So, we don't have a Ralph's in Yuma. We don't have a Safeway in Yuma. But if you go to San Diego, you're going to find a Ralph's, which is the same as a Fry's, because your value of your little card is the same thing. So when you look at and actually all I got to do is go on an app. It's called Flip, and it gives you the grocery ads that come out every week. Those ad prices, that price per pound on a prime rib right now, because this is prime rib time, is the same price per pound in San Diego, all over San Diego County, as it is in Yuma County. Now, that's not me doing a study. That's me just simply going on and looking.
That's good marketing. Okay.
Well, call it good marketing, but I mean, that's so, where are we that we say that it costs more to live in California when you go to the restaurant because you're someone's absorbing $22 an hour.
It costs more for gas. Gas in Oklahoma is $2.29 a gallon average. California, it's second highest in the nation. It's at $4.29. And it comes out of the same nozzle.
It's a road tax that they have.
It's a lot of things. Yeah, it's a lot of things. California is just more expensive to operate in. That's where the inflation comes in. Yes.
I'm not going to argue with you. It's more expensive there. Do you want to? I don't live there to make the wages that they make to see how the inflation is. But when you make a minimum wage in Yuma, Arizona, and you drive to San Diego for the weekend, where they're making 1.5 times more, or 30%, 40% more per hour, somebody has to absorb that cost of doing business.
Sure.
Whether you're a mom and pop or corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
And corporate America is not in business to lose money, and nor is a mom and pop either.
And places that are heavy employees working, they have to raise prices or cut down. Like McDonald's, they have less and less people. It's more automated. They're just getting rid of people because it's too expensive. The minimum wage is double the federal minimum wage in Arizona. So we go into McDonald's, you can't find anybody.
No, and they do that, I guess, to keep the $1.99 chicken nugget sandwich or whatever the hell they sell.
There you go.
Anyways,
I'll send it to you though.
Would you please? I'm just maybe I'm getting bored at my age and want to read stupid stuff.
I don't want you bored.
These studies in life, these studies in economics that people pull out. It's a conditioning.
Right.
To condition your mind that this is what the prices you're going to pay, and we're going to raise it up, and then we're going to bring it down a little bit. And you're just going to steadily get used to, that's just the way it is.
I hope to stay informed.
Yeah. Well.
All right, buddy.
Have a good day. Have a Merry Christmas.
You too.
Take care. Clyde. Bye.
Yeah, it's Clyde that wants more information. Well, we'll give it to him. We'll be right back. AM 560.
Partly cloudy skies today. An isolated shower could pop up with a high of 78. 10 to 20 mile per hour southeast winds today. Cloudy and 61 for tonight. Beautiful Christmas Day tomorrow. Mostly sunny and 78. Partly cloudy and 55 on Thursday night. Friday, cloudy and 72.
What's up, Yuma, and hello, Russ Clark Show listeners. Johnny Porter here, and I just made the switch to Allo Fiber, and it's a game changer. Lightning fast speeds for streaming, working from home, and gaming. No buffering or slowed down speeds. It's time to ditch the glitch and switch to Allo Fiber.
We're the comfort experts, people you can trust. Ask our customers. That's why they count on us. Over 50 years of service. Keep us going strong. We've got a name you can depend upon. Hansberger Refrigeration and Electric. Hansberger, count on us.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me. He'll drain that old swamp, just like he said. He'll make America great again. So get on that Trump train.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you. It's 7:32 on a Christmas Eve morning. Phone lines are open 928-344-5258. Yeah, I need a little more time. But I got it done. I got the article sent to Clyde this morning. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning, Russ. Happy Merry Christmas Eve.
Well, same to you, Ernie.
I wish that for all the citizens of Yuma County and around the world.
Yeah.
You were talking a little while ago about the pipeline that comes by Yuma.
Yes.
I believe the Marine Corps Air Station is tapped into that.
I didn't know who it was, but I do know we have it running through. I didn't know if we actually tapped it, but that's cool. That's good to know.
Yeah, I think they actually have a fuel park deal out there, so that's how they get their fuel. But anyway, have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the information. Take care, man. Bye-bye. Well, there we go. Someone does tap into it. Anyway, Marine Corps Air Station. And that's good. We got to keep them running. I don't know what happens to that pipeline if the refineries shut down. I imagine they'll still use it if there's unloading gas in California from offshore, and some of it does. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Russ.
Well, good morning.
Listen, I want to defend myself from yesterday.
Okay.
Okay. I'm looking right now at 3 articles on YouTube that talk about Obama saying that he's good at killing people. Maybe they looked up assassination. I think I got the word wrong, but he did say it. He's good at killing people.
I agree with you, and in fact, we talked yesterday about that. But there was never a quote that he used the word I'm a good assassination. He says he's good at killing people.
I chose the word was killing people.
Yeah, it was.
But there was you could look up that he is at some type of dinner, and he's talking about his daughters liking the Jonas Brothers.
Right.
And he's making a funny that if the brothers go around his daughter, he's good at with his predators.
Mm.
But they cut the actual they cut it short because that's also where he said he was good at killing people.
Wow. That's and I'm sure he meant that as a joke. He's going to be a dad, protect his kids, but I don't know. Yeah, that's not good taste.
He's joking. He killed 1,200 Americans during his
1,400. You had it right yesterday. 1,400.
Well, 1,000 plus.
Yeah.
Okay. Of Americans, and he's joking about it. Anybody could take that for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say that I was not wrong, and you can't call into your station and make statements that aren't backed up. I mean, that wouldn't be right.
Oh, and people do it though.
So I when I call in, I think I hope I know. I think I know what I'm talking about. So I'm not calling you flippantly.
I think you had your facts right. You just had the wrong quote. You substituted assassin for killing, but the premise was the same, and you were right. That's the first time I ever heard it was 1,400 people. I didn't know that until you said it.
Because of this argument, because of the Democrats' argument attacking Trump for killing 2 criminals. People doing the research, we find out, wait a second, the other side killed 1,000 plus people.
Yeah.
And you can go back to Bill Clinton too with the aspirin factory. So it causes the people to I think that's one thing that the Democrats don't understand. When they throw out all their lies, it causes us to research our history. And I think a lot of people do that. One of the things was that word tariff, and it has been bandied about and used incorrectly until you sit down and listen. And even Victor Hansen took a stand against it. But when you listen to that guy Besant, I think his name is.
Yeah, Victor Hansen.
Yes.
Yeah.
He explains it perfectly, and we're finding out later on that these things are working. But the Democrats, again, it's the Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals. They take chaos and they take it as far as they can.
Sure.
But I also want to call your attention to something that I said a couple months ago. I was talking about Arizona, and I was talking about the governors that are running on our side. We should put refineries in the state.
Yep.
We should not be dependent on California. And you know what you said?
What?
You weren't in agreement.
Okay.
And you said we shouldn't do it because it takes too long.
Well,
so I'll take that, and it probably does, all the red tape. But we had Ducey was a Democrat.
Ducey was a Republican.
How many terms did he serve?
2.
And who was the Republican before him?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
It wasn't Shara. Shara was a Democrat.
Right.
She was a
No.
the
young lady.
How many terms did she serve?
2.
Okay, that's 8. That's
16.
8 years.
Yeah.
Going all the way back, we should already have refineries in this country. I mean, in this state. we should already have refineries in this state. You know, every state should have a refinery if it will drop the price of gasoline at the pump.
Yeah.
But then let me ask you another question.
Yeah.
We pay more for gasoline in Yuma than most of the state, and we say, well, why is it? Where we get our gas in California? So we are actually, with every time, think about it, every time you put your hand on a gas pump, you're sending money to California to run that country as common. You are subsidizing communism every time you put your hand on a gas pump.
That's one way to.
Not funny.
That's one way to look at it. I'm not disagreeing with you. Well, but you could say the same about China. You know, we buy Chinese products and all that other stuff. But I'm not.
And Trump is trying to fix that.
Here's
another.
What's that? I think it's better to have it in Arizona. By the way, I was saddened that they didn't put the one in Welton.
They were going to put one in Welton?
Oh yeah, about 15 years ago. I went down and promoted it. You know, I spoke at the hearings they were having on it and was promoting it, but they can't get the permits. That property's still owned by that company that was trying to put it in there.
And you know what? So let these companies, you know, that's the great thing about free markets and capitalism. Let these companies leave. Then let another company go in there and buy it up for cheap. So if we build a strong refinery in Welton, then we can supply them. We can supply California and have them pay us. You know, because talk about the word tariff. We pay a tariff to California every time those axles cross our state line. That's tariff.
Well, that's illegal. You can't do that. But I know what you mean. You mean the profits are being made, or the employees are being paid in California, and we're supporting that. Correct.
Now, to answer Clyde's question,
what's that?
And that's a question everybody should be asking. And it's too bad that they don't put that on the pump. Transparency. How much is that damn gas? I'll tell you, that gas is probably 98 cents a gallon.
Well, they do put the taxes on the pump. You can read that. It's on there, I think.
But there are several taxes that are on that receipt. But people, we don't pay tax on gas. Why? Because it's not on the receipt. They don't put it on the receipt for a purpose.
They don't pay sales tax. There's no sales tax in this state on it.
If they put all the taxes on that price, you'd start a revolution.
It's about 40 cents a gallon on state and federal.
I think it's even more. And it's even more now when we get the California blend.
I don't know. I don't know.
Really, and again, this is, what are we doing? We're promoting knowledge. If somebody out there knows how to get that number, what is the exact price of gasoline minus all the taxes? That would be a number that should be that's good transparency.
Yeah. Let's see. In Arizona, gasoline is 18 cents. That's not federal. I think there's also another penny for something else. Okay, I'm looking at the wrong chart. But yeah, I think it's close to 40 cents in state of Arizona. California's a lot higher. I'll figure it all out. But yeah, it is important that we look at it. Yeah, 18.4 cents is federal. And then we have another 18 cents for the state. And I think there's another penny for the state on something else. And we're one of the lower states for gas. Yeah, we're a total of 19 cents, and 18.4 for the feds. But some states, like Pennsylvania, they have 57 cents per gallon. California's 56. Yeah.
When you ask the average person, and they complain about the price at the pump, they say, "Well, big oil's making money. Look, at big oil's making money."
Well,
and that's not the case. It's big government making money.
The government makes more than the oil companies do. That's correct. The government.
And that's why when you talk to people who have gas stations, they don't make money on selling gasoline. They make money on selling milk and cheese. And candy and all the rest of that stuff.
They make money. I was a district manager for Circle K for a number of years, and we always made money at the pumps. I mean, it wasn't a high percentage, but it's high. It's a lot of dollars, and if you make 10, 15%, that's not bad.
Well, that's my 5 cents. And
All right, buddy.
Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you, sir. You too. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye. Everyone makes money on gas, or they wouldn't sell it. But he's right that we sold gas because if we didn't, nobody would stop by to buy anything else. Being gas was a draw. There's no question that it was a draw, but it wasn't a loss leader. It was a convenience. It had to be there, and it's a pain. I mean, it's a pain to sell gas. But it's worth the trouble, and it's expensive. Put those pumps in and put all that stuff in. But if you're a convenience store, you got to have it if you're serious about it, because it's somebody stops get gas and they go in and buy a cup of coffee for $2. It costs them 10 cents to make. That's a good deal. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ, how the heck are you doing?
We're doing well, man. How are you, sir?
I got another funny for you.
Okay.
My funny for today is Democrats, don't let the Republicans cheat the 2026 election. Demand an ID, a voter ID, and other voter IDs and paper ballots.
Wow.
The Republicans don't rip off the 2026 elections.
Well, you say so the Republicans don't rip it off?
Yeah. Isn't that what they always say? Well, because we want voter ID, we want paper ballots. That's because we're trying to rip it off.
No.
So what I'm saying now, don't let Republicans cheat the 2026 elections. Demand a voter ID and voter ID at paper ballots.
There's been a lot more push for the paper ballots. I've heard nationally more and more people start, talking about it. That's a good discussion to have. Because we had less problems back then. We definitely did.
Oh, I don't know about that. We had the hanging chads. Remember the hanging chads?
Of course, in Illinois, man, the push. That's Florida. Yeah.
Florida. Yeah, the hanging chads. That was Doyle, right? That was Doyle. He lost the election because of hanging chads.
But they cleaned that state up. And DeSantis was really good at that too, of getting people off the rolls that hadn't voted in years, and cleaning it all up, and putting in better programs to make sure there was integrity. I mean, he's done a great job, and I know some of our legislators have traveled to Florida to get good ideas. Of course, anything they put forward gets vetoed by Hobbs.
Right. Well, what I want to see was going to happen in Georgia. Didn't they just figure out there was 312,000?
Yeah, it was only 300,000.
300, and it was all. From what I understand, it was a mother and daughter at the polling areas that caused that, helped cause that, I should say. They're the ones that filed against Giuliani when Giuliani was doing something. This is all part of Giuliani's thing.
Yeah.
Giuliani, they're trying to sue him.
Yeah.
So we need to push for paper ballots, help the Republicans not win.
Yeah, it was massive in Georgia, and you're right. They bankrupted Giuliani. Saying he was one of those voter guys, and they just have to. It's a joke. There's no voter, and in Arizona, the Democrats did all they could to stop auditing. They destroyed records. A lot of terrible stuff happened.
Well, what's irritating to me as an American citizen, as a taxpayer, as a voter, all those, how many thousands, 50,000 ballots still have not been counted in Arizona?
I thought it was like 8,000 or something. And
oh, it's more. It was in Maricopa, but all over Arizona.
Oh.
What I'm getting at, but now that we know it, what happens? We can't change the elections.
The judges wouldn't let them get access to it.
Right, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. We know it's there. We know it had happened.
Right.
But what's pissing me off, judges are using the law. I don't know how they could possibly use a law that we know that people were cheated. People were cheated out of the elections, and nothing can happen. That's like a communist country. It's like we're in Russia. Yeah, we cheated. Yeah, we cheated, you guys. We know we cheated, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Doesn't it seem to be the same way? We're in China. We're in Russia. All those ballots in Georgia. How they, what's going to happen? The only thing they're not doing is putting us against the wall and shooting us. And
don't give them ideas. Don't give them any ideas. But it was Abe Hamadeh that kept suing to get those records and to get them counted, and he was unsuccessful. The judges, and here's what the Democrats know, Gilbert. They know that they can do whatever they want because the judges are on their side, and they'll never let them open records. They're not going to turn over an election. So go ahead and cheat, and then just deny afterwards and tell them that you can't look at it. And that's now a strategy. It's not just
I rest my case, Russ. We know the judges are doing it, and the only thing they're not doing is putting it against the wall and shooting us.
Oh.
They know the judges are doing it. They know the judges are wrong. The judges know they're wrong, but they're not doing nothing about it.
Yeah.
Just like everything else that we're finding out, all these people that had California, mainly California, look at Newsom. How many billions of dollars was on that the rail system that they've wasted?
It's billions. I don't know. It's billions. A lot of it federal money, which Trump cut off. Now not getting any more.
Well, they're not going to get any more. But how about all the money they stole? What's going to happen?
I think that money's been spent, probably on fraud, but it's been spent.
But again, if it goes to court, that's what I'm trying to find. What I'm getting at, are they going to go to court on all this and all the money that was spent for the for the forest fires, the billions of dollars, and all the houses? How many houses have been built? One.
Oh, there's not many. I mean, they're not issuing permits.
Right. One house. That's all. And how many years has it been now? What, a year and a half? 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing. Yesterday, a gentleman called you talking about these young men walking on 4th Avenue and they're illegal aliens. Where's ICE and all that? A lot of those guys are living in those motels that were fixed up for migrant farm workers. And you guys were talking about this. I couldn't call because I was driving. There's a lot of these young men are walking around that aren't working for many reasons. The field's too wet or whatever. But a lot of them are living in those motels that were converted. Remember all the barracks we used to have all over Yuma?
Yeah.
For migrant farm workers? Oh. Yeah. This guy's making a statement. He doesn't know. He didn't ask him. At least I'll go ask him. Are they working? But he's assuming these guys that are working, that are walking around 4th Avenue, around the post office and all that. I'm in favor of ICE. I'm in favor of ICE. But to just generalize, these guys are walking illegal aliens on 4th Avenue with backpacks. They all carry backpacks, so they go shopping and they put their stuff in the backpacks. Am I saying every one of them is legal? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, when you generalize like that, sounds like a freaking racist to me. Because you're generalizing.
I hope it's not racist, but during the Biden administration, we definitely had a lot of it. It's not now. You don't see it.
Brother Russ, let me tell you something. Back in the Buffeto days, we had a lot of them all over them. Of course, we had more camps outside of Somerton, outside of Yuma. We had barracks. We had barracks. I lived that life as a migrant farm worker as a 5-year-old.
No,
we lived in Upland, and we used to go to Fresno, and we lived in barracks.
No, I'm not talking about the farmers. I'm talking about the people illegal that the Border Patrol would put in a bus and drop them off at Walmart. I mean, that was normal.
Oh, yeah. Yes, with Biden. Yeah, you're right. But we had buses with migrant farm workers all over Yuma at one time.
Yeah, those guys. You could spot those guys because they're tired, man. They've been working hard.
they're tired. Yeah, and there's there's a lot of young migrant farm workers that are still young that they don't get tired. They're ready to go party after working all day long.
I don't know. I don't know how they do that, man, because they work long, hard days.
They do.
Yeah.
And one more thing, Russ, because I was listening to you today. Instead of doing my work, I'm blaming you for not getting my work.
Man, go ahead.
You guys were talking about all this thing about electricity and pumps, who's going to run the pumps and all this crap this morning.
Yeah.
But you left out one thing. If there's a hydrogen war in America, atomic war, the last thing we're going to worry about is pumps. Because all that radiation is going to be all over. It's going to kill all the vegetation. It's going to kill the meat. It's going to go in the mountains in the snow.
Yeah.
Snow's going to melt. The water's going to come down, and all that radiation is going to be coming down with the water.
No, we weren't really talking about nuclear war. What we were talking about is a complete failure of the grid. Now, that can happen from sunspots and stuff.
So I'm talking about what's going to happen to the grids with the atomic war, the flash.
Well,
which is going to take all your electricity off.
Yeah, that could do the same thing. The sun could do it too. You could get a big burst, or they could do it, but they could do they could destroy the grid without destroying the country by doing stuff up in the air high where the radiation is not going to necessarily reach us. But you knock out all the power in the United States, you're talking 100 million people would die. Easy.
Well, look what happened in San Francisco. That little bitty screw up where all the cars were shut down. All those self-driving cars. Look what happened there.
Yeah, that's the Waymos. The Waymos. Yeah, they got confused. They got up to the red light and there was no light, so they stopped.
Yeah. So how big of a grid was that?
Oh, it caused problems. So Waymo said they've learned from it. They're going to go back and reprogram, man.
Well, they're gonna have a little city with lights.
That industry's in its infancy, man. They'll get through these things, but it did shut it down, man. It caused gridlock.
It did.
Yeah.
Anyway, Russ, today is the day before the Christ the Lord was born, and I give thanks for all the blessings that I have, and I have have a good time, have a good life. I've had a good life. I enjoying myself. And like I said, don't let the Republicans win 2026. Get voter ID.
All right, man.
That's my funny for today.
Appreciate you, bud. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas. Bye.
That was Mr. Gilbert, a regular caller. Yeah, that whole grid thing going down would be scary. Hopefully that never happens. Well, I don't like to see that. I started talking about Pope Leo not too long ago. He's disappointed in Illinois and in Governor Pritzker. And he's disappointed because they approved a medical assisted suicide. He said he'd spoken explicitly with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker while the legislation was on his desk and urged him not to sign the bill, saying the measure undermines respect for human life, the very beginning to the very end. Unfortunately, for different reasons, he decided to sign that bill. It's called the Medical Aid in Dying Act, referred to as Deb's Law. Signed on December 12th by Deb Robertson, who it's named after, was an Illinois resident, rare terminal illness, and I guess Deb pushed the bill through. Said everybody should be able to take their life. Takes effect September 2026. Pope Leo says, I would invite all people, especially in these Christmas days, to reflect upon the nature of human life, the goodness of human life. God became human like us to show us what it means really to live human life. And I hope and pray that the respect for life will once again grow in the moments of human existence, from conception to natural death. The state's 6 Catholic dioceses also criticized Pritzker's decision to sign the bill, saying it puts Illinois on dangerous and heartbreaking path. Now, Pritzker said, the dog doesn't like that. Pritzker says patients with terminal illness will avoid unnecessary pain and suffering at the end of their lives. thoughtfully implemented guide physicians and parents to deeply personal decisions. Yeah, I think it's all problematic. And somebody that's not feeling well, that's got sickness and all that, convinced to just pull the plug. I don't think it's. I'm agreeing with the Pope that it's not. It's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate way to go. I'm going to take a break. It's the top of the hour. It's like 8 o'clock. You're probably not late for work because you might have the day off. I'll be back. AM 560 KBLU.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me. He'll drain that old swamp, just like he said. He'll make America great again. So get on that Trump train, riding proudly with him. He'll stand up for you and the red, white, and blue.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It sure seems like it in Bristol Township, Pennsylvania, where 2 people were killed in 2 explosions that rocked a nursing home, sending 20 others to the hospital.
The blast happened as a utility crew arrived on site looking for a reported gas leak. People who live near the Bristol Health and Rehab Center, about 20 miles northeast of Philly, say they heard a loud boom and watched a big plume of black smoke fill the sky. First responders say part of the building collapsed, leaving flames and rubble, with some nursing home residents and staff trapped inside.
Fox's CB Cotton, a police officer, is hospitalized in Washington, D.C. the morning after being hit by a car while helping another driver in a broken-down vehicle on the side of a highway. The driver who hit and seriously injured the cop was also hurt. The same day, a state trooper was murdered in Delaware. Governor Matt Meyer calls it an act of pure evil that could have been worse, saying other people in the DMV office near Wilmington, where it happened,
are alive because of heroic actions of the deceased trooper and others.
The gunman shot the trooper, who then pushed a worker nearby in the DMV office out of harm's way before he was shot again. A police officer shot and killed the shooter. There's a new National Guard deployment, more than 300 troops for New Orleans to back up Border Patrol illegal immigration crackdown. Republican Governor Jeff Landry welcomes them in Louisiana, telling Fox
they will be there for New Year's Eve, and they're going to be there for a deployment through February, which we desperately need.
But the president's attempt to send Guard troops to the Chicago area continues to be thwarted. The Supreme Court refused to lift the judge's order blocking that. There's a lot of flooding fear from Northern California down to the Los Angeles area.
For context, I want to tell you that LA usually gets about 14 inches of rain a year, and now we're expecting 4 to 8 inches over the next several days.
Fox's William Lajeunesse in Malibu, one of several areas of greater flooding risk scarred by January's destructive wildfires. America's listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-393-1881. That's 800-393-1881. 800-393-1881.
From the News 11's Information Desk, I'm Jaylene Aguilera. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs continued to erase millions of dollars in medical debt for local Arizonans. On Monday, Governor Hobbs announced that more than 141,000 Arizonans had their medical debt erased. She, in partner with the organization Undo Medical Debt, has now cleared medical debt for over 485,000 people in Arizona. This amounts to $642 million. Plus, a local family is continuing their neighbor's legacy and spreading holiday cheer throughout their community this Christmas. Beloved neighbor Grandma Candy Cane used to pass out candy canes every night at her home for decades. But after she passed from cancer a few years ago, neighbors wanted to keep her legacy alive and keep passing out the treats to families. This December, the Rocio and Hernandez family have stood outside their home every night, passing out more than 800 candy canes so far. Catch us on the TV side on News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3".
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. It's 8:04 on a Wednesday, pump day, Christmas Eve morning. See, I looked at something real quick. Gilbert asked if there was lawsuits going on in the Department of Transportation with Gavin Newsom over that, train thing that's fallen apart in California, the high-speed train. And there is. Looks like Trump held $4 billion in payments because that train's going nowhere. I mean, they've spent billions of dollars. It's not. There's no rail laid to my knowledge. But Trump canceled a $4 billion federal grant. Said, we're done with you. So California is suing to get that money. I think that lawsuit's still open. That they have. So that'll be going on for a while. But that whole thing's been a joke. See, according to the Sacramento Bee, California spent 16 years, $15 billion to develop the high-speed rail network, and nothing's been built. That's a lot of money. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Well, good morning.
Did you get a chance to look at anything I sent you yesterday?
No. I've been busy doing stuff.
I know. I saw you in your office with your doggy.
Yeah.
Listen, remember we were talking about drone helicopters for crop dusting.
Yeah, you had sent me some of the brand names and stuff like the Hawk 550 and stuff.
Yeah, well, the biggest one, the Hawk 550 will fit inside of a van.
All right.
But the biggest one is a Robinson R44.
Is that the same people that make the regular Robinson helicopters?
They make the helicopter, but if you the very first, I think it wasn't the first, maybe the second text I sent you, is the people that do. I'd have to pull my phone out of my face to tell you who it was. But
well, R44 is a helicopter.
Yeah, it's a full blown helicopter.
And
these people back east are building them, and all the electronics to where you fly it with a joystick in your hand.
Remotely, okay. And for years they tried to work on autopilots for helicopters, and it just weren't good at it. I think they finally got it. Yeah.
Well, they've got autopilot on helicopters now. Once you get it off the ground, you can punch in your coordinates and it'll go.
Yeah.
And it's got a collision avoidance and everything else. And the military is the one that did that. But it was you can watch some of the videos. It's kind of neat to watch those things fly. But R44, that's a 4-place helicopter that they've changed out, and they run 190 gallons in it.
Yeah, that's a big one.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're and they do cost $1 million a piece,
So.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, what's an air tractor cost now? 1.3.
But are you using the R44 for agriculture?
Yeah, I think it's the very first one or the second one. It's a tech company out of Massachusetts that's doing it. And they're building them and selling them. I mean, that's a big helicopter to be a remote control, with all the programming in it, where when it starts the field, it maps how wide a spray pattern you want, how many gallons to the acre. I was just I had to shoot it to my TV set so I could watch it even better than being on my phone. I said, you know what? That's the future.
Oh, remote. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that thing has a gas engine in it. It's got a Lycoming 540.
Is it a 540? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that engine alone sells for over 100,000.
Yeah.
But like I say, that is the future, because they can get in and go right into the corner of the field where there's power lines stopping around them and make a turn and then just make a couple of passes. That way, when they get on a regular pattern, they can just fly over the wires.
Yeah.
But if you get a chance, it's on. You can get it on YouTube, but it's in that one that I sent you, where they're using R44 is the largest one they have out now.
Mm-hmm.
That is completely autonomous once you get it in the air. It knows exactly where to go. But I thought I'd get an update on that for you.
Well, I appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Talk to you.
All right, Manny.
Merry
Bye-bye.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, buddy. As our friend Andy, friend of the show, keep me updated on helicopters. Actually, remote control stuff that's being used in agriculture. And we've got a lot of it here in Yuma going on. Something else we got going on in Yuma is military. And I got some reports here about the military recruiting numbers. In fact, the report starts off saying that they're off to a strong start for the fiscal year 2026. So obviously, they're already working on 2026. And it says officials said the Defense Department meeting nearly 40% of its delayed entry program accession goals, and that number is historic. It's high. I don't know what exactly that means, but it's good that it's highest. But November 24 was the military has seen the highest percentage in meeting or exceeding their recruiting goals in more than a decade. Also claims the announcement, according to DOD, the 5 service branches achieved an average of 103% on the recruiting goals for fiscal 2025. And it goes through a lot of them. The only one that was only 100% of goal didn't go over was Marine Corps, but everybody made goal. Everybody made it. I mean, that's amazing because they were struggling with that, which is great. And they didn't mention this in the article. They said the success, and this is of Sean Parnell, the chief Pentagon spokesman. He said he attributes the success to several factors, including enhanced medical screening process for the recruits. A medical records accession pilot program has cut down on waiting times between the time a recruit's initial paperwork is submitted and when they are allowed to be taken in by the local military entrance processing station. Reducing the wait time helps avoid potential recruits from losing interest in serving, which all that makes sense. Other initiative services that were cited in the announcement were preparatory courses to help recruits who are close to meeting enlistment standards improve their academic tests and physical fitness. All that makes sense. They didn't mention the changes that Trump made by eliminating DEI and all that nonsense. I mean, it was holding up recruitment. According to stories I've read, that there were people that were career military, whose parents were career military, that told their sons and daughters, military is not for you. And that all changed when Trump got it back to getting the best force instead of the most diverse force. You know, guys with dresses and stuff. Well, looks like overall the DOD's troop end strength has been boosted by 26,100. So there's 26,000 stronger at the end of 25 than they were going into next year. All good news. There's still a lot of problems out there in the world, and the stronger we are, the better. Just to keep those at bay, just to keep the problems away from us. Absolutely good. A GOP lawmaker, and who is this? It's a Republican representative, Marionette Miller Meeks. a Republican. I think she's out of Iowa. She put forth the Waltz Act, which is funny. It's the Welfare Abuse and Laundering Zillions Act. Laundering Zillions. Waltz. Waltz Act. Which is hilarious because it just happens to be the name of the governor that's having problems in Minnesota. I think that's hilarious. What the bill would do, it would require the Health and Human Services to the Inspector General to open an investigation into any program that sees a 10% or greater increase in total payments over any 6-month period within a fiscal year. And that would have caught it in Minnesota, because their increases were doubling and tripling and quadrupling, not 10%. They were going nuts. They were going high on these programs, and they were living it up. They were living the high life in Minneapolis on stolen money. Under the bill, HHS would no longer have discretion to ignore sudden billing increases that critics say often signal fraud schemes, particularly in large entitlement programs. The bill comes amid revelations in recent months that Minnesota's federally funded health and nutrition programs were rife with fraud to the tune of potentially up to $9 billion. Now, these early reports were speculating $1 billion. Now and I think this is speculation, obviously. They said up to potentially $9 billion has greatly increased. Who knows what's finally going to be, but they're seeing something. The Waltz is the face of the scandal. I bet he doesn't like that. He's got some great quotes in here, too. I mean, he's not a smart man, I don't think. Here's what he says. Not initially. Now, initially, he was making all kinds of excuses about the fraud. It wasn't that bad. And then it was, well, it's not just Somalians. We have other criminals, too. They didn't say that's not a quote, but that was what he basically said. Let me take a phone call. You're on the air.
Morning, sir. How you doing?
We're doing well, Ted. Good morning.
I had this. It just popped into my brain last night. Amazing as that is.
Wow.
Waltz reminds me of Sergeant Schultz on Hogan's Heroes.
I think that's I think that's good. I can see that.
Yeah, I sees nothing, I hear nothing.
Yeah, man.
He is a criminal, man.
He's bad. He's bad news.
But yeah, that popped into my head.
Here's his latest. He says, I'm accountable for this. And more importantly, I am the one that will fix it. What? You want me to give Al Capone the keys to fix the problem in Chicago during his heyday?
Yeah. I guess he could fix it from a prison cell.
Maybe. He finally admitted, though, this is on my watch. I'm accountable for this. More importantly, I'm the one that will fix it. Gosh, what arrogance, right? But who knows? Maybe Minnesota will elect him again.
If there's no trial and no prosecution, it just keeps going on and going on and going on.
Well, you remember Marion Barry, right? The governor and not the governor, the mayor.
Yeah, I told you we used to sit and watch the girls dance in clubs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Marion Barry, he was put in prison on federal charges, cocaine, and all that stuff. He got out. He ran again, and they elected him. Like, he may be a drug addict and a womanizer, but he's ours.
That's right. That's how it works. But
they put him right back up in there, man.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you should have seen the entourage that he'd come in with down in D.C., man.
Really?
Personal bodyguards that were with him.
Yeah, all paid for by tax dollars, and a ladies' man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he had his own personal table. The girls come over to him.
Seriously?
Money sliding over here. Hennessy flowing like water. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. That was him.
Yeah.
Biggest man around town.
Yeah. Wow. I don't see how that flies. I mean, it couldn't go for but there'd be too many cameras and taking pictures that'd be blasted out during the campaign. It wouldn't work for a Republican.
No, but
For Barry,
it
it did.
Yeah, down there, it was tight, man. You couldn't bring cameras into if they caught you with a camera in there, you're going out back and get beat.
Oh, I never thought of that. Okay, I don't want to get beat up. I'm not going in anyway, but okay.
Yes, you did.
Oh, no, man, no.
Oh, you were uptown and good guys.
I don't know what good guys is. I don't have any idea.
You, Wisconsin Avenue, you know exactly where it is. Anyway, yeah, like I said, Sergeant Schultz, man, that's Tim Waltz. That's Sergeant Schultz right there.
Yeah,
and
he might get
going to claim it.
It might work for him. I mean, he plays this role for so long, and he got elected. Was he been elected twice or something? I think he might get elected again. I'll be interested in watching, even with all the 98 Minnesota mayors that wrote a letter to him saying stop stealing stuff.
like they do. Come on, man, they're just covering their behinds.
I have no idea. I don't think all these mayors out in the rural areas involved in that, but who knows? I don't know. We'll see.
Just check the skid marks on their palms.
Yeah,
that's all you got to do.
Yeah.
It's like all the ones that come in that, who was the one you were saying down south that she had $100 in her.
Oh, that was in Georgia. Yeah. Donna Brazil.
Yeah. Brazil. Yeah. All of a sudden, what did Biden give her?
$2 billion.
Yeah.
$2 billion.
Did he send you any?
No. I'm not in that group, man. And I don't want anything to do with him. I'd be arrested.
You'd be arrested.
I'd be arrested. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with that.
I'll cover you. I'll cover you, man. Don't worry about it.
They were throwing gold bars off the Titanic. That's the description given by some of his aides, one of them. Undercover on cameras on it without him knowing it. He didn't know. That was James O'Keefe that got that.
Right.
Yeah.
They never know.
No.
Deniability, man. They always keep them in the dark. Keep them in the dark.
Yeah. Well, Walt's tried denying. He's not denying anymore. Now he's saying he's accountable. But don't worry, I can fix it.
I can fix it.
Who would trust him to do that? The jazz hand man. I mean, I know. No.
I see nothing. I hear nothing. Hey, just remind everybody here in town, we always have our good power generation in case we lose our regular power. You know what it is?
What? Those
diesel engines.
Sitting
up on the rail tracks.
What rail tracks?
The railroad that goes through town. Union Pacific.
Oh, you mean stop the trains and plug into them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are huge generators.
Well, I say the Marine Corps has some huge generators, enough to run that whole facility.
They ain't gonna let us have those, but Union Pacific will.
There'll be guys with guns at the gate. You ain't getting in there. You say, I just got to plug in my phone charger. You're not getting in.
Yeah, they'll escort you in. You ain't getting out, but they'll escort you in.
I don't think that would be that wouldn't be a good day.
Just remember, we always have the Union Pacific engines to power up the city.
They got generation. They have electrical generation on those. I guess so.
Yeah.
That's an electric train, isn't it?
Yeah, diesel run generators.
That's right. Wow.
And each engine, I think, has enough kilowatt production to it may take 4 engines to run all of Yuma, the city of Yuma.
All we have to do is get Ted stand out on the track and tell him to stop. We'll see what happens.
Hey, it worked in the old days, buddy.
All right.
All right.
Thank you,
Have
buddy.
a good day.
Take care, man. Merry Christmas. Bye.
You too.
Bye-bye. That was Ted saying, stop the trains. We'll get the diesel generators. If we're out of power, that would work. This Republican representative, Marionette Miller Meeks, explains herself on this Waltz Act. She says, this is what happens when soft-on-crime Democrats run the show. Zero accountability, zero oversight, and taxpayers left holding the bag. The Waltz Act is named for a reason, to ensure this level of negligence can never be repeated anywhere else in America. This bill puts hard safeguards in place to protect taxpayer dollars, shut the door on scam artists. Let me take a phone call. It might be a scam artist. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Mr. Russ. Merry Christmas.
Well, Merry Christmas.
So, came to mind
Uh-oh.
as listening to.
You're letting your brain run amok again?
Sometimes you know, I'm bipolar, right?
Oh man, that's a good thing to have.
I don't know whether we discussed that in any of your visits to the car lot or not. But yeah. And so sometimes it comes up with some pretty crazy creative ideas.
Okay.
But this is pretty mainstream what I'm noodling on at the moment.
What's that?
What in the world is in the water that the Democrats drink?
In reference,
your buddy Shifty Schiff.
yeah.
Marion Barry. You're talking about Wall, Clinton's. I mean, you can rattle them off nonstop.
Yeah.
But you have to go back to Tricky Dick for anything close to something illegal.
He said he was not a crook.
It wasn't. I know, and it wasn't corruption. It was, I get it. What he did was wrong, and
it was cover up. He was covering it up and lied about it.
But he wasn't taking money under the table. And I know every now and then there's some Republican politician that gets caught for it.
Yeah.
But 95% of all the corruption in government is on the Democrat side.
That's a made up statistic, but okay. But it might be. I don't know. I mean it seems to be. Yeah.
That's what it seems to be.
Yeah.
I'm just pulling a number out of my.
Yeah, but don't do that. That's good.
But still, when do you ever hear about, you hear negative things about the Bushes, about even President Trump. You hear bad things about Republicans, but you don't hear about the corruption and taking money and buyouts. And I know to get things running in New York, President Trump, business-wise, he had to pay to play. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But not in government.
Right.
I just am amazed how high the percentage, how far out of balance the scale is when it comes to corruption.
Well, and we don't know about AOC, but we know that she had like a $65,000 net worth that, went up slightly, went up to $250,000 after, I think, 4 years. The fifth year, it went to $30 million. Now, how does someone invest that well?
Now, that does go both ways. The Republicans and the Democrats both practice insider trading and both go into office poor and come out millionaires.
That's possibly true. I haven't looked at those numbers, but it could be true. They take advantage, probably.
Sure.
And it would be illegal in the private sector. It's not illegal for them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just like an old Lindsey Graham got his carve out for suing. Did he do it for all of Congress? No, just for senators. Did he do it for the regular Joe? No, just the senators can sue. And it's just there is bad things happening, but it's not like you hear about the corruption, and by that I mean graft and taking money, and it's irritating. Getting me worked up just thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, good. You can't be here. Tomorrow's Christmas.
I know. I don't work today or tomorrow, so I'm out doing a little dasher, dropping off somebody's McDonald's right now.
Yeah.
Thought I'd call in and say hello.
All right, buddy. Be good, man. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. My fact checker has found a problem with me. That I got it wrong. Well, if I got it wrong today, I had it wrong before. I mentioned that there was a $2 billion payment to Donna Brazile for her NGO at the end of Biden administration when they were throwing gold off the Titanic. My fact checker assures me it's Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams. I would rather have Donna Brazile get that money. Stacey Abrams. Abrams. I thought it was Abrams, but was sent the money. I could have sworn it was Donna Brazile. Okay, I'll double check that. I mean, I trust my fact checker. I mean, before he sends me the correction, I mean he looks at it. So I quite possibly was wrong. Oh, one of my listeners that sent me the story about Cher the other day, which I read on the air about her taking on the White House press, Carolyn Levitt. He said it was fake. Yeah, he says, he says, sorry, he sent it to me. He should have checked his sources first. That's okay. I don't think it was terrible. It was actually pretty fun to read. I don't mind it being fake, but apparently it didn't happen. She did not tear up the press secretary. Let me finish up with this Waltz Act, this Republican lawmaker, Marionette Miller Meeks, said the Waltz Act, the bill puts hard safeguards in place to protect taxpayers' dollars, shut the door on scam artists, and bring real accountability back to government programs, which is really good. Former federal prosecutor Joe Tarib, who briefly worked on feeding our future aspect of the fraud investigation, said the fraud screen was notable not only for its size, but how easy it was to carry out. Honestly, how easy this fraud was to do. These fraudsters were just saying that they were spending all the money on feeding kids. And then they were just making up these PDFs, putting false names into an Excel spreadsheet. Oversight failures within the Minnesota Department of Education and other agencies played a significant role. Officials had incentives to avoid scrutiny, citing political sensitivities surrounding Minnesota's Somalia community. Yeah, nobody wants to be called a racist. There were huge incentives to just turn the other way. There's a sense of, if we say something, are they going to call us all racist? And that's exactly what happened. And by the way, I looked up this morning, the Somalian population in Minnesota, the entire state, is 1.5% to 2%. That's it. 1.5% to 2%. And they're talking that fraud's like $9 billion. These are very creative, criminals, if that's true. Of course, the people have already been arrested. It's only like 90% Somalian. There are some other nationalities in there. You can't say it's all Somalian, but it's only 90%. That's not bad, reaching 90% for that, and you're only 2% of the population. That's just paying attention and working hard. I mean, on your criminal activity, anyway. El Salvadorian president and Hillary Clinton are having a little spat. Yeah, Hillary Clinton made some allegations about the prison in El Salvador. She put a post out there on X and put an 11-minute video on it also from a Frontline documentary titled Surviving CCOT. Hillary writes, curious to learn more about CCOT. Here, Juan, Andy, and Wilmer, those were the three featured that were interviewed on the 11-minute video, share firsthand how the Trump administration branded them as gang members without evidence and deported them to the brutal El Salvadorian prison. So the documentary shows these three men who were deported during by the Trump administration, and they were branded. They say branded as Trendiagua, which they deny. They deny their tattoos, even probably, but they denied it, and they were complaining about how terrible it was. So the El Salvadorian president, Nayib Bukele, I'm sure I destroyed that name, but he said, we are willing to release our entire prison population. He wrote this back to Hillary. We're willing to release the entire population, including all gang leaders and those described as political prisoners, to any country willing to receive them. The only condition is straightforward. It must be everyone. This would also greatly assist journalists and your favorite NGOs who would then have thousands of former inmates available for interviews, making it far easier to find additional voices critical of the Salvadorian government or willing to confirm whatever conclusions are already expected. Surely, if these testimonials reflect a systematic reality, a much larger pool of sources should only reinforce the claim, and many governments should be eager to offer protection. Until then, El Salvador will continue prioritizing the human rights of the millions of Salvadorians who are today live free from gang rule. I think that's excellent. That's an excellent response to Miss Hillary Clinton. I doubt it, but he should be careful. I mean, Hillary's dangerous to have as an enemy, from what I understand. Now, he has, the president of El Salvador has a relationship with Donald Trump because he offered to house certain migrants that were deported to the U.S. at CECON. The U.S. has deported Venezuelan migrants deemed to be gang members to El Salvador after their home country refused to take them back. A federal judge on Monday ordered Trump administration to provide due process. And that due process gets thrown around. People that are deported got due process. They have deportation warrants and all that. But I guess the judges want more due. I want more due process, whatever that is, of Venezuelan migrants deported to El Salvador in March, and gave it 2 weeks to detail how it will do so, setting up another high-stakes clash between the White House federal courts, of course. I think that thing's still being adjudicated. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Russ.
Well, good morning, sir.
Yeah, listen, I watched The View for you yesterday.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you.
As much as I could, buddy. It was melting me down, and I got a strong constitution.
Yeah.
What? Stephen A. Smith was on there grandstanding.
He does do that very well.
Yes, he does. You know what I mean? When that describes him perfectly, doesn't it? Grandstanding.
He does. I enjoy listening to him, particularly on the commentary on sports. He's pretty good, but he is. He really does have, aggressive energy.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah, he does that.
Anyway, he disavowed knowing anything about those 77% of the black men that voted for Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
And he's out there all by himself, and he was repeating what Trump told you he was going to do. He didn't say he was for it, didn't say he was against it. That's what I call grandstanding. And the audience is what the scary part. They were applauding all the idiocy and things that are contrary to the Constitution. The audience was applauding it. So I think they're catering to a communist crowd is what I think it is, Russ.
Yeah. I don't know if what they have left is a crowd or not, but it's an audience. It's communist, probably.
Oh yeah, well, the 1954 Communist Control Act. I wish Pam Bondi would read that, because I am sure she could charge a lot of people with being a communist, and would find them guilty, because it's against the law to be a communist in this country, because you can't register as one.
Yep.
Yeah, and anyway, so I wish you'd read the 1954 Communist Control Act, because that thing covers it real well. And I wish Mike Johnson get word and bring back and reinstate the 1952 McCarran-Walter Act. Buddy, that would have you ever noticed, have you ever seen the excerpts from that bill?
Yes. Yeah, you and I have talked about it before, and you brought it to my attention. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a perfect bill for what we were, because see, it's perfect because the U.S. Constitution is a Christian Constitution. It's made for Christian majority people. It wasn't made for Muslims. It wasn't made for most folks. I'm sorry to break your heart. And we don't need to be having Democrats modify laws that are contrary to our Constitution to make it acceptable to have these people like we got in Minnesota ripping off the federal government. We don't need that.
Right.
And we don't need, Trump's up the number to 25 million illegal aliens, and that is on top of the 55 million illegal residents that's already here with kids that are destroying your schools and your educational system. And they've occupied all the available housing areas. That's why homeless people are out in the streets and on the bridge. And this is primarily why your financing on your homes and your rent and even hotel rooms are up.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the illegal alien structure taking all available living space up, and Biden and Harris are totally at fault for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But anyway, that's what I wanted to say today. I had more, but
Okay.
that's all I'm going to touch.
Well, I appreciate you, and Merry Christmas, my friend.
Oh, hey, yes. Merry Christmas to you and your entire audience out there.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Bye-bye.
And of course, it's OG. My fact checker sent me something from the Babylon Bee, which I always enjoy. Rudolph changes name to Rolanda, dominates female reindeer games. It shows a picture of one of the cartoons of Rudolph, except now he's donning a pink wig. But of course, it's a made up. It's not true. It's a comedy thing, but very consistent with today's times. You just don't know. Rolanda is a shining beacon for young female reindeers in more ways than one, stated the president of the North Pole Reindeer Games Committee, Bob Chairman. She has shattered records in every event she has entered, which says so much about physical potential of all female reindeer. Thank you, Edward. I needed to smile this morning. And he sent me a confirmation it was Stacey Abrams that got the $2 billion, and I really missed it. I did say Donna Brazile. Stacey Abrams got that. Yeah, I didn't cover that much today, and he found something anyway, which is disappointing, and myself disappointing. You know, that I was that far off. That was a big mess. Judge gives green light to controversial New York driver's license law, which is unfortunate. Well, the Trump administration challenged it. And the controversial New York and of course, the liberal states tried to outdo each other by having more and more outrageous policies to support illegal immigrants that are harmful. But so good for New York for getting a harmful one in. It's called the Green Light Law. And it gives people driver's licenses without requiring proof that they are in the U.S. legally. Yep. And the state law sought to invalidate federal law, or that measure unlawfully regulates or unlawfully discriminates against the federal government. As I said, and this is Letitia James now. Letitia James, she's the Attorney General of New York. She's still there. She said, as I said from the start, our laws protect the rights of all New Yorkers and keep our communities safe. I will always stand up for New Yorkers and the rule of law. That's such a joke. Yeah, she's the one that railroaded, found laws to go after Trump and all that stuff. I think I hope I didn't get this wrong, but she's the one that had an affair, but allegedly with one of the prosecutors she hired to go after Trump. Yeah, spent some time in a cabin or something. Allegedly, yeah, but that's still being run through the courts, I think. The Pam Bondi is, she when announcing the lawsuit that Hochul and James were prioritizing illegal aliens over American citizens, she said the controversial state law blocks federal agents trying to enforce immigration laws from seeing illegal immigrants' criminal driving records during traffic stops. Yeah, like when a police officer pulls you over and he gets your driver's license, they take it back to the car and they said, set here, we'll be right back. They're just looking at your record right quick, and that driver's license opens up a whole file of stuff. Well, apparently not in New York. The Green Light Law, also known as the Driver's License Access and Privacy Act, it says, and this is their claim, it was adopted to improve road safety, as people sometimes drive without a license. And if you have a license in your pocket, you're so much better at driving. That's the theory that I don't agree with, by the way. Okay, I got the wrong state and prosecutor. I knew it. I was working off memory, a poor one at that, when I said Letitia James, if I'm right, is the one, but I was wrong. That's okay. Edward caught it. I kept him busy this morning. He'll send me the article, but without, he says sometimes people drove without taking a passing or driving test. And I don't know if you've been to DMV and some of the driving tests are not. They're not much. In fact, you pass the driving test in California for CDL, you still don't know how to read the signs. The law states that people who do not have valid Social Security number can submit alternative forms of ID, including a passport, driver's license issued by other countries. Applicants will still receive a driver permit, pass road test, qualify for standard driver's license. Except it does not qualify for a commercial driver's license, CDLs. That's more federally controlled. James is being investigated for financial fraud. Is that the one about the housing? I wonder if James, I can't remember. One of them was on the housing, claiming they have 6 primary homes or something. The also claims to be easier to enforce the Trump administration's immigration agenda if the federal authorities had unrestricted access to New York's driver information. So that when you get pulled over, your information comes out. Now in the state of Arizona, a lot of people have access to driver's information, which is limited, like tow truck drivers and stuff. Some of those guys that run around town that repossess them. They can get your information off your tags. That's not your license. That's your tags. They can get limited information, just enough to help them get the car, repossessed. They don't get the whole thing. Yeah, it was the mortgage fraud against Letitia James. I had that wrong. Yeah, it was the other prosecutor that had the alleged affair. I think the one from Georgia. Again, I'm running without notes this morning. The green light law took effect 2019, but came under reviewed scrutiny. So it's just now coming into place. Hector Garza, the vice president of the National Border Patrol Council, said any information that can help law enforcement stay safe as they conduct their duties has pretty much been taken away with this green light law because they've given them privacy. But right now, the judge is saying that in her ruling that her job was not to evaluate the desirability of the law as a policy matter, but to determine whether the Trump administration's argument prove its claims that the statute violates U.S. constitutional supremacy clause, which establishes that federal law overrules state law. And she said they failed to state such a claim. So the law went forward. So if you're an illegal alien and you want to do a lot of shenanigans, my advice is, don't do it, number one. But if you're going to do it, help out New York and help them by going there. That's what they're looking for. They're putting out invitations out there. Getting driver's license. California puts out invitations, more giveaways in California than most. They want you there. They want, including the criminals. It's okay. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ.
Yes.
I'll call you again, but I had to call you.
Okay.
The same people that you're talking about years ago were saying that it was illegal to force people to get IDs for voting.
Right.
They're the same people that are doing it today. And that's why I called up about, Democrats with getting voter ID.
But it's
because I'm listening to you. And I'm thinking these are the same people.
Yeah.
They were making excuses for people not being enfranchising them by forcing them to get IDs, even though we need IDs for cigarettes, alcohol, bank accounts, and all that.
For anything, man. Anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
And again, like I've always said, it's the media that's our worst enemy, because the media was pushing that narrative about forcing people, So that's where we're at. And Ingrams and all of them, Crockett, all of them, they need to be put in jail.
Well, they may end up being there if they get found guilty of some of the shenanigans, but we'll see. We'll see.
Wouldn't that be a very Merry Christmas for all the wrongdoers get put in jail? Look what they try to do to Trump.
I know. And that was
Right?
outrageous. You know, they
Giuliani.
Yeah.
Look what they did to Giuliani. He was broke, right?
Yeah, I think he filed for a bankruptcy protection or something.
Right.
Yeah.
They meet, and again, the reason they're able to do it is because all the radical judges we have. These radical judges are the same type of judges that helped Adolf Hitler with the Gestapo. The same type of mentality. Whatever feeds them and feeds them well, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
I like to see it. I like to see these judges' bank accounts. Seriously, all these liberal judges that we're seeing.
Yeah.
I like to see their bank accounts.
Hopefully they're not corrupt, man. That'd be a pretty big deal. And and in answer to your question, Mel will be doing the Christmas story tomorrow. I'll be in here tomorrow.
Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah.
It's been that way for how long? How many years you've been doing this?
Yeah.
10 years?
25.
25. Mel's been doing the Christmas story.
I don't know how Mel's been doing Christmas story probably 15. You're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when he first did it.
Yeah.
All right. Keep on with the tradition.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let me see. Let me take a quick break. I got just one break. I'll be right back.
Partly cloudy skies today. An isolated shower could pop up with a high of 78. 10 to 20 mile per hour southeast winds today. Cloudy and 61 for tonight. Beautiful Christmas Day tomorrow. Mostly sunny and 78. Partly cloudy and 55 on Thursday night. Friday, cloudy and 72.
At Exceptional Community Hospital, we are redefining what emergency care should feel like. Fast, personal, and compassionate. Our experienced ER physicians and staff are here 24/7 to care for your unexpected illness or injury. Don't wait for emergency care when you can be seen in minutes. With short wait times, you'll get the prompt attention you need because every minute matters. And if your recovery takes longer, we provide the inpatient care you deserve. Exceptional Community Hospital. Compassionate care. Exceptional service.
We're the comfort experts, people you can trust. Ask our customers. That's why they count on us. Over 50 years of service, keep us going strong. We've got a name you can depend upon. Hansberger Refrigeration and Electric. Hansberger, count on us.
The Christmas Carol, a simple story that captures our images of Christmas. More in a moment.
Ed Whitehead's Tire Pro has been serving Arizona for over 20 years. Dune season is here, so ask about specialty tires for your toys. We also do alignments, brakes, oil changes, AC work, inspections, preventive maintenance, and more. Get your tires at any of our 4 Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros locations. Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros wishes you all a happy holiday season. From our family to yours, and cheers to a safe and prosperous 2026. Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros. Yeah, we got tires for that.
The Christmas Carol is an enduring classic, but for Charles Dickens, it was a story written out of necessity. Dickens had written the first part of a serial story that was poorly received by the critics. Frustrated and broke, Dickens walked the streets of London composing A Christmas Carol, the story of Scrooge and Tiny Tim that has become a holiday tradition.
There's a man in D.C. He stands 6'3". He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me. He'll drain that old swamp, just like he said. He'll make.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you. Phone lines are open. I just have a few minutes left, but there's a phone call. You're on the air.
Russ, you say they're handing out driver's license?
Why, do you want one?
Huh?
Do you want one?
No.
Oh, in New York. In New York, they're giving it without Social Security numbers or proof that you're a citizen. I mean, you still have to get your picture taken.
Yeah, just let them remember there's such thing as an interstate and an intrastate laws in this country.
Okay.
So those licenses are garbage outside that state.
I've never heard of that before. I mean, if it's issued by the state, I think it's accepted, but I mean, maybe they shouldn't accept it. I have no idea. California has been issuing CDLs, which it has a whole nother guideline. The federal government has to approve that guideline a little bit. And they've been going outside that and just issuing them. And that's why we've had these fatalities.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, every road, even though it's within a state, is a federal highway. So let them get caught with those crap licenses.
Well, they're legitimate. They just don't have their Social Security number. They never, and they sued them. Pam Bondi sued them and said that was outside the guidelines of the federal government guidelines. And the judge says, not that she can see. She,
the judges. Yeah,
the judge.
So yeah, I think they need to go to the Department of Transportation and investigate the intrastate and interstate laws.
Yeah.
For those bogus driver's licenses.
Well, even New York's not messing with the CDLs. They're not doing that. They're still, I guess, keeping the federal government happy on that. But not the regular license. But I mean, California's been doing something with licenses too, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate that, and I think that's why the real license came up. In fact, the stories I read on the real license where, you can get on an airplane with the license now, but you have to have the real license.
Right.
Which you have to show proof of citizenship and birth certificate and all that. And it comes with a little more passport looky thing to it. But costs $25 extra in the state of Arizona.
I just carry my passport with me.
Well, I carry that passport card, that little card, for going down to Mexico. But I read that I don't need that. I haven't verified that I can get back and forth with that real license. I mean, I know I can get back in. I was just wondering if it would get me in Mexico because Mexico's checking now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try that next time I go down. I'm just going to hand them my license and see what they say.
Take your passport with you.
I will, in case I get handcuffed or something.
Did you ride your bike? Did you ride your bike to school this morning?
I don't take it to work anymore. I take it to the gym.
I was going to say because it's raining outside.
It was raining yesterday, and I did. So you know what I did? I just didn't go to the gym at all.
What did your wife think about that?
She was happy. I was at home. Spent the day. See, we're still newlyweds. She's happy when I'm home. Versus, you've been married for a while. The wife might say something along the lines of, "Don't you have something to do? Don't you have someplace to go?"
To the gym, but I didn't go.
I'm not at that.
You're a bad boy.
I'm not at that point. No.
Bad boy.
We had a few things to do. Getting ready for the holidays, and my gym's closed today, so I can't go.
Right. Did you put up a tree?
Yes.
Cool.
It was artificial. Now we're not doing the real ones, but the tree is up and it was decorated. It has been since probably the first week of December. We didn't put it up at Thanksgiving, but the first week of December. But yeah,
this is what I saw, and it went right to my heart. I saw a cactus decorated like a Christmas tree,
as you should.
It was cool. I mean, ingenuity.
A real cactus.
Yeah.
Is that on your street?
No.
Oh, okay. And
they weird things down here. Palm trees and lights going up.
They look good with the palm trees. Look good lit up. Man.
Yeah.
I like it. But well, have a Merry Christmas, my friend.
You too. Thank you.
All
Bye.
Right. Bye-bye. That was Mr. Ted. I covered this a little bit yesterday, I think, on CCOT. And that's at prison down in El Salvador. But the CBS did a special on it. And they got nervous about it and canceled it. Brian Barry Wise. He's the CBS editor-in-chief, and he made the decisions late all of a sudden, which, of course, it's going to be trying to discredit the Trump administration. But they got to be careful about that, because if they lie, cheat, steal, cut up, and edit, Trump will sue them. I mean, if they say it fairly and all that, I mean, you can't, and fairly and balanced can't get sued, I would imagine, but, well, you can get sued. Anybody can get sued, but you may not win, may not prevail. They sent the White House, if they had anything to add, the White House sent them a statement, which they didn't use, and the statement was, they called on the show to amplify stories of angel parents, and those are parents that are killed by illegal immigrants, criminal illegal immigrants, drunk driving illegal immigrants or something like that, which has happened. But they withheld it. Now it played in Canada for some reason. I guess they didn't get it called off in time, and it played in. It's on YouTube and stuff. Carolyn Levitt saying the march of the deported Venezuelan man. These are heinous monsters, rapists, murderers, kidnappers, sexual assaulters, predators who have no right to be in this country, and they must be held accountable. Oh, good for her. Well, Wise held it back. Probably a wise decision. We'll see where it goes. And again, if it's factual, they got nothing to worry about. So, but I guess he doesn't trust his own people at CBS now, because they've tended to do a few things that might get him in trouble. Good for him to double check it. I'll be back tomorrow on Christmas. Yeah, I'll be in here Christmas morning. AM 560, KBLU.
This is News Talk
560 KBLU, Yuma.
Southern California is going to get drenched. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
It doesn't rain that often, but when it does, we get good downpour.
And that